make it happen. Is that what your page says?
Yes, make it happen.
Okay. All right. Friends, it's photo time. Alicia. Oh, there we go. I was going to say you were sideways. Woohoo! All righty. We are, it's time to take pictures. So everybody smile. Smiling.
Oops. Get my neck.
Well. Okay. All right. So, Tasha, why don't you introduce yourself, and then I'll share my screen.
Okay. Perfect. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Toshma Pinckney Graves, Toshma Graves for short. I am a 15-year veteran in residential real estate, 15 years, March 2020. Woohoo! Full-time here in the Atlanta area. July 1st actually made 5 years here at Keller. So when I transitioned to Keller, I was just like you guys, even though I had been in the business 10 years, because that was my cutoff point. I had done relatively well for a few years, and then I was part of that whole market implosion and was barely keeping my nose above the water line in terms of survival. So by that 10-year mark, I'm not sure about you, where your past history is, but I was in corporate America before I got into real estate. So my decision was like it would have been in corporate real estate. Had I been working 10 years and not gotten a promotion, what would I be doing? I'd either be fired or I would have quit. So that's when I made the decision to take my education to Keller in lieu of getting a $60,000 MBA. So I started as an infant in real estate like you guys did. I was here to learn, and it's by far one of the best decisions I've ever made. I guess Stacy wanted me to talk to you guys and have me facilitate and share my experiences because I am self-consider a buyer specialist. When we enter into real estate, most of us work with buyers first because that's the quickest way to get to some income. Would you agree? Please, guys, chime in. I'm definitely used to people conversing with me. So a lot of us move right into buyers first because that's the fastest way to get your income going.
Tasha, sorry to interrupt
yes.
you, but did you slowly transition from working full-time, or did you cold turkey jump full into real estate?
Christina, excellent question. I was actually in finance and banking. I took my license. I took time off from work, basically took my 2 weeks because I never took vacation. Took the boot camp in 2015, 14, 15, and never looked back. I didn't go back to work. So I had 6 months of expenses. I was then married with about a 14-month-old baby, and my husband was deployed to Iraq.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was a single parent, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to do this because I remember buckled over in the parking lot of my job at the time with what I thought was going to be an ulcer because I was so miserable with my career, and I had a baby that was asthmatic, and you never want to have to make a choice between your family and your job. So that's what I did. I said, okay. Had been not been in sales, mind you. I'd been in corporate through training and advising people, but I've always dealt in people's money. So I'd never been commissioned. So I went from a very nice salary, expense account, car, all that good stuff, and just said, you know what, I'm going to do this for me and my family. I never went back. So I did struggle. So I think another reason Stacy likes me to talk to you guys is because I keep it real, real, real. I know I've sat in your spots a lot of times and you hear all these glossy, HGTV stories about real estate. Well, that's not my story. Um, I struggled. Now, I will say my first full year out of corporate America and into real estate at that time, it was a 50-50, no, it was a 60-40 split. I had a 60-40 split. And my first full year out of real estate, I made $70,000. The next year I made 82. That's with no leads. I didn't have a big book of business. I was brand new. It was all prospecting. Back in that day, we used to actually have what we call desk duty. I feel real old talking about that, but you used to actually sit at the front desk where the reception person is now and take phone calls because there was no internet access. So I did that, and first and second year made close to 6 figures. Then the market hit. And because I had not been a salesperson, I was like, okay, what do I do now? What do I do now? But going back to a job was not an option. So that's when I learned to build on the relationships that I had. All buyers, though, mind you. I didn't get listings until probably 2011. So I've always worked with buyers. And I worked initially in this business with buyers that wanted new construction. So I had a really tight niche of people that I worked with. I only worked with buyers that wanted new homes. So as I'm sure it kind of segues into what your 10-4 is about, part of your 10-4 says preview homes. That is almost single-handedly how I've been able to survive. Because when you're not working, when you don't have a client to work with, you should be previewing. I had to preview 250 communities back in 2015 before I could speak to a single person first. So before I could get desk duty, I had to go out in my car every day and go and visit 250 communities. That little buyer sheet that you guys have, I had something just like that. And I had to write down schools and does the community have grass and trees and does it have a pool and what's the HOA and what are the floor plans? And I did that over and over and over again. So now I can pretty much ride in any community that was built in the past 10, 12 years and pretty much tell you who the builder was and what kind of floor plans are in there. But why is that important? Because when you're prepared and the phone rings, you're going out 1 or 2 times. So you do all the homework up front. It's never a waste of time. And even now, I preview as I show buyers. So if I'm going into a new area, then after I'm done with showing that person, then I'll drive a mile radius and I'll look for new construction. Is actually one of the best ways to preview an area because they already have all the work done for you. Just go in, get the packet. They have the schools, they have the utilities, they have the parks, they have all of that stuff. But that helps me, and that's a way to gain new buyers. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So 2015, I did a deal with a young lady who's in our Keller Williams perimeter office. And long story short, she asked me to come over and work with her to help her with her buyers. And I was barely holding on. I had some referrals, but I was really, not doing the best I could. So I saw it as an opportunity. I'm like, okay, well, you can go over here and pay this split. Don't get me wrong, that split is not cute. I was on it with a transaction company before. So I only had to pay the little $295 or $395. And I was like, oh my gosh, this 70-30 and this $15,000 to $18,000. Oh my gosh. And the young lady that brought me over, she said, Tashma, you're living in a spirit of lack. When you actually do this business, that money will just be a cost of doing business. And sure enough, she did not lie. So I gave her the side eye though. So it still took me 4 months to come over, even after January. But I worked with her in a partnership and I was her showing agent. So I did my business and then I worked as a showing partner. So that is definitely a way to start making money instantly. Whatever you feel is comfortable for you, you can do on a per door. My decision, because I was already doing real estate, I wanted more than just 20. I couldn't live off of, $25, $30 a door. So I said, I tell you what, I'll close them on the house. And she said, well, I'll give you a percentage as opposed to per door. And that was more attractive to me. So to give you some perspective, so it was 2015 I came over. In 2015, I had an equal amount of income on the clients that I had, about $22,000 to $23,000 in the first 6 months, and that was getting all of my money in 2015, to July 1st when I joined Keller. The next 6 months, I made an equal amount of money, about 23 to 24,000, working with her buyers on a 15 to 20% split. That's pretty impactful. So that means her volume was big enough to help me make the same amount of money I made in 6 months working on my own. So I say that because, again, I'm not sure where everyone is in their real estate journey, but there are ways to make income in this business immediately. And it's all a learning experience. So if you're new, you need to take as much of the learning experiences as you can. But one of the things that I love about real estate is that 2015 year was, do the math, about $45,000. My next year, I went from 45 to 127. The next year, I went from 127 to 146. The next year, I went to 240. The year before, so that was this is now 2020, so 2019, 2018, I slipped back because my daughter was preparing for college and I was not focused. I was focused on her. So I slipped back to about 167. Last year, I clocked 267. So I share that on last year was probably my biggest year for listings. I was on a maybe 60-40. So I was 60% buyers, 40% sellers. So I round that all to say the reason I'm in front of you is because I guess here is a testimony that you can make a pretty comfortable living working with buyers. Although our mission and our play is listings to last, and that's very, very true. Listings to leverage, very, very true. But somebody's got to sell those homes. So that's where we come in terms of being a buyer specialist. Does anyone have any questions before I go forward?
Yes, Mrs. Graves. Hi, this
Yes.
is Ebony. So when you are working with a buyer and trying to find them new construction, how does the commission work? Because I know with the sellers, they pay out, well, it's like 6% and 3% goes to the seller, 3% goes to the buyer. But for new construction, how does the commission work?
Actually, very similarly. The bottom line is it depends on the builder. But many builders need our help because they have a lot of inventory to move. So they're looking to have a relationship with buyer's agents, and they will typically pay you at least 3%. And there's many of them that give you bonuses. And that's how a good way that I made supplemental income in that first year new construction, because builders were throwing bonuses on top of 4%, 5%. Sometimes you go and look for the standing inventory. That's a whole nother class I could teach. But anyway, yes. So very, very similarly.
Thank you.
Question. Can you hear me?
Yes. Rachel?
I'm interested. Yeah, hi. You said, and like, how did you find, like, for a show, like, there's a new community being built by my house. It's really nice. And I emailed the developer already. I didn't hear back. I'm sure everyone's messaging them. Because I was thinking something like that, like a showing agent. Like, what are your suggestions of finding a good fit for that? Because I'm interested in that immediate, even if it's a small amount, while I can do other stuff on the weekends and stuff like that. Like any direction you can offer.
Strictly talking about approaching a builder, or are you talking about just being available as a showing agent for any person that needs your help?
Both, but maybe more a builder.
Okay, so again, depending on the builder, if you look at the big box builders, like your D.R. Hortons and your Crowns and things like that, they typically have their own sales team. So there is some limited opportunity to kind of maybe work with one of the actual listing agents if they need someone in their stead. But typically they have a sales team. You could target smaller to mid-sized builders that may not have a whole, sales team working for them. But to be a showing partner, we actually have resources through Keller, through our Rawls group with the showing buyers and sellers Facebook page. That's a great
Okay.
way.
Buyers.
That's a great way. Buyers and sellers.
I'm sure I asked to join. There's a lot of them on there.
You really want to go to that one, guys. It's the buyers and sellers Facebook page, as well as there is another one called Open House Tips and Tricks. That one's very helpful. There are always listing agents looking for you to someone else to host their open houses, which is a way
That's what I've been doing on the weekends, but during the week, it's only, a couple hours stints here and there. So I just wanted to beef it up more if possible.
Absolutely. That and the buyers and sellers, there's always agents that need help. So like someone like me, I'm still a one-man shop. I vendor out my partnerships, and I have a great showing agent that, as a matter of fact, I met through one of the Ignite classes that I taught last year, and she's been amazing helping me. And because at one time, even not getting any sleep, I can only work probably 14 buyers at a time. That's like getting no sleep. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you definitely want some other feet on the ground to help you. And on that website, on that Facebook page, there's always people saying, hey, can you open a door? Can you show a house? $25, $35. You negotiate it. It's all a negotiation. But yeah, you could definitely
just put myself out there on it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And what was the name of that Facebook group?
There is the buyers and sellers. It's in the Rawls group, KW Rawls group. It's buyers and sellers. And then there's the open house tips and tricks. And most of them are closed Facebook groups. So if you ask your, I'm not sure if it's the MCA, but ask your person that kind of helps you with technology, they can the admin can help you make sure you're included in those groups.
I'm gonna actually, you asked to join, and each page has its own admin I'll ask you a question like, what's your market center number? Who's your TL? Something like that to validate. I'm gonna pull up, I'll show y'all what it looks like in a minute.
Hey, and just to let you know, I did ask to join, and it's been, over a week, and I haven't gotten approved yet. So I don't know if they're behind on doing that.
Is it the main one?
I don't.
Hold that thought, Cindy. We'll get it cleared up.
Okay. Awesome. Any other questions? So, okay. Well, good. Well, so that's why I'm in front of you, because I know we always ask when we're in a class, like, who is this and why are they teaching? Like, what they got to tell me? So I've been in the trenches. I'm still in the trenches. And I'm just going to give it to you as real as I can. It's an exciting time to be in our business, though. So with that being said, we'll look at our 3 main objectives for today in this Make It Happen. Finding buyers and sellers. I'm sorry, finding our buyers, finding and winning our buyers, I should say. So our 3 main objectives today are, of course, where to find buyers.
Are you seeing this?
I am.
Okay.
How to qualify our buyers, and how to get our buyers to work with us, how to sign the buyers. Okay. Now, before we do that, I like to ask one of my favorite questions, and let me see who can give me the answer the fastest. What are our 5 job descriptions of being a realtor? What are the 5 things that we should be doing every day?
Prospecting.
Lead generation.
Okay, I heard prospecting, I heard lead generation. What else?
Lead generation.
Contacts, connections.
Lead generation.
Reviewing.
Increasing database.
Follow-ups. Nurse relationship.
Constantly building relationships.
Okay, I heard some good ones.
Studying our markets.
Well, say that again.
Studying our markets. Knowing
Okay.
our market.
I'm missing one. I'm missing a couple, actually. I haven't heard 2 of them.
Wait, Okay, can you repeat the question one more time?
There are
Servicing.
5 critical elements of our job description. So like if we were working at Home Depot.
Determining our value.
Build your database.
Build your database, okay.
Writing contracts.
Writing contracts, okay. All right, so let me see if you can see this. Can you see that? Nope, can't see it.
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna give them to you. This is actually a screenshot that I have on my phone. This is my job description. And this is all of our job description, by the way. They are not in any particular order, so don't be fooled. First one, lead generate. Second one, lead follow-up. Third one, set appointments. Fourth one, negotiate contracts. And the fifth one that I didn't hear anybody say is practice scripts. Okay?
Okay.
So if you are not doing, really, we should all be doing every one of these 5 things every working day that you say you are a realtor. But at minimum, you need to be doing 3 to 4 of them every day, or you're not going to make any money. And there's not one that's more important than the other. I know everyone, I heard a lot of people say lead generate. Well, guess what? If you don't know what to say, you're not going to convert anybody. Would you agree? If you're not saying the right thing, you're not going to get a lead to become a client. So you have to practice your scripts. You have to practice what to say in order to be impactful. And open houses, and I'll tell you, I'm going to be very transparent with you. Open houses is my second source of lead generation. So my first one is referral. I'm a 96.7% referral business. And that's not because I've been here 15 years. That's what I've been doing the whole time. Because I admittedly am not a good cold caller. So I work with the things that I'm strong at. Okay. So open houses, when you get leads, those are people that are going to come into your open house. Ideally, they're looking to buy a home. So they're a lead. So you get a name and a phone number and an email, but if you don't lead follow up, again, they're never going to be converted to a client. So lead follow up is just important as getting the lead. Would you agree? Oh, I don't see any heads nodding or anything. Dying on the vine over here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very important. Just as important as you prospecting. The follow-up is.
Thank you, Chaz.
Yes,
Thank you, Ebony. All right, so setting appointments. So again, you get the lead, you follow up with it and say, hey, Charles, how are you doing? I'm so glad you came to the open house on Saturday. Just wanted to make sure I could address any questions you might have. And then Charles and I have a conversation. If I don't close that conversation by saying, Charles, you know, one of the best ways that I can help buyers win is to have them come in for a complimentary buyer consultation. What day can we do that? What would be best for you? Tuesday or Saturday? If I don't close that phone call with an appointment, then again, I'm no closer to having a client do business with me than I was when I just had a name and a phone number. Okay, so as you can see, none of these steps are exclusive. Like they're all equally important. So today we're going to look at, again, finding the buyer, which would be your lead generation, qualifying the buyer, making sure that we're making a good use of each other's time, and getting that buyer to commit to us. So Stacy, if we can we show that find the motivated?
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm getting there, promise. Okay. It's just a little, whoop. I'll start over.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pollack, and I'd like to share tips on how to find the motivated. What do I mean by find the motivated? Turning a warm lead.
Sorry. I should have practiced this. I'm so sorry. All right.
Listen, I knew I was going to make a mess of it. So.
Righty.
Get into a close
Can you see
client.
this?
The first tip is when you find someone,
get back
you
there. See it?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pollack, and I'd like to share tips on how to find the motivated. What do I mean by find the motivated? Turning a warm lead into a closed client. The first tip is when you find someone, you want to ask for the business. Let's say you're at a party and your friend is pregnant. You can always say, hey, it looks like you need a bigger house. Or you're out and about and you see this big, beautiful diamond ring and not the full wedding ring. You can say, hey, it looks like you just got engaged. Congratulations. When are you buying your next house? And I always ask, when are you ready to buy? When are you looking to move into your new house? What are those underlying tips of motivation that will tip you off to having a client that's ready to do business now versus a year from now? Tip number 2, ask for the appointment. Have a calendar or your smartphone ready to say, I have availability tomorrow at 2 or the next day at 4. Which one would work for you? Book the appointment when you meet someone who's ready to do business. Tip number 3, so now you've got the appointment, you want to pre-qualify that appointment by using scripts. Ask questions such as, have you met with the lender that I referred you to the other day? To make sure that they have their price range in mind when they're meeting with you to buy a home, and that you know they're able to sell a home, or that they're motivated by a desire to have another outcome, like maybe they're relocating or they're downsizing their home. There has to be some motivation level to continue forward with the appointment. Tip number 4, use embedded commands. When you get in front of the people face-to-face at your appointment, you want to be talking embedded command language, such as, when you're comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, then we'll sign the contract tonight. If you're using that language throughout your hour or half an hour appointment, they'll be more comfortable when they get to the end, and they'll sign that contract, and then you can move forward. The last step is you've signed them up, and now it's your goal to get a referral. When you're in conversation with them on the phone, in the car, at the closing, use questions. Who else do you know that's looking to buy a home, sell a house, or invest in real estate that I can call today? If you keep saying this throughout the process, you'll find yourself turning more of your current clients into referral business that will generate lots of easy sales for you. So go out there and find the motivated and have a great day.
Okay, so give me some ahas, if any, on the video, some things that you may not have been aware of, and then someone or many someones chime in, give me some places that you would find or have found your buyers.
Jasmine here. It wasn't an aha moment from the video, but it was something. I've done a handful of open houses. Hello?
Somebody else was talking, I didn't hear you.
Okay. No, it was an aha moment from something that you said. I've done a handful of open houses, and I have reached out to some of the people, but I think it might be a better practice for me to ask for the appointment in front of them at the open house versus me contacting them afterwards. Didn't really register because this is all new to me. So whenever I'm there, I'm like, all right, well, I'm just trying to get a good flow. But I think I'm going to try that. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I really like the tip with engaged in the engagement ring when she's like, oh, you just got engaged. Looks like you just got engaged. Congratulations. When are you looking to buy a home? Because obviously that is typically the next step, or even if they haven't thought about it yet, that could put the idea into their head as far as, you know, the next step as far as having housing. But it made me think about my coworker. I stopped working on July 1st. So, but I still keep in contact with my old coworkers. And on Monday, they texted me to tell me that one of my coworkers got engaged. And so I immediately texted her like, oh, you know, I'm so happy for you. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I should say something about, you know, are you guys going to be ready to buy soon? Because you guys are in an apartment right now. But I didn't. So now I'm kicking myself. But that was a good tip. And I probably will text her today and mention it.
Hello. Hello.
Claudette?
Yes. So I
Yes.
like the language. And I can't remember the first half to it, but she said, when you're something and confident. It was another word she used with that word, with that phrase, something and confident. Did y'all catch that?
I believe
She
it was
repeated
certain.
it.
I believe it was certain and confident that you're ready to buy your home. Then we'll
I
go
like
into
that. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's certain and confident. And she repeated it. And I don't know, it's just kind of like an empowerment, because I find that some people, they're kind of hesitant. So that was like a nice push. Yeah. I'll use it.
Anybody else?
Talks about, you know, using what people generally share with you. Like one of my friends, and people might think on this call that I'm cold-blooded, but one of my friends has been a foster mom to some dogs in her apartment while she's been on quarantine. And I'm like, hey, she posted the other day that one of her hospice dogs passed away. And she's like, you know, I'm really thinking about getting another dog. And I inboxed her and I was like, I'm so sorry to hear about your dog, but does your apartment complex have yard space for your dogs outside? Have you considered getting a home? I got her to a lender. She's talking to him this afternoon. So like, I'm gonna, you know, I don't have, you know, and the people in this class know I work full time. I don't have, you know, all day to sit on the phone and prospect. So everybody I talk to, I don't want to say take advantage because that sounds cold, but I have to use the information that they give me in order to give them information of how I can help them. So it's like, if you're thinking about taking on more dogs, you live in a 1-bedroom apartment. I know we drink mimosas there. Hey, you thought about getting a yard? For what you pay in rent, you could probably be a homeowner and have, you know, and have your own job. Not your own job, your own yard. Is that something you thought about? And she's like, you know, I really would like to have a yard for my dogs. Baby, can I have my lender call you?
Rachel, were you going to say something?
Yeah. It was more of a question. Like, I've gotten some leads from open houses, couple emailed them. Well, some leave emails, some are already working with someone or phone number. Didn't hear back from the emails. Should I start texting? I don't want to be irritating because that happened to me and I was like not answering the phone, but just, yeah.
A lot of people don't answer the phone. Again, in the spirit of transparency, I have a listing that I knew was going to get a whole lot of interest, and I specifically put in the remarks, text me. We don't pick up the phone like we used to.
They didn't
and
answer
I'm like, my phone is ringing too much. So just text me.
They didn't answer the emails either. Okay. Even though it was like 2 days ago, is there like a time frame you would suggest waiting between?
Well, there is, and Stacy chime in anytime I probably not getting these numbers right. But the frequency there, it's your I'm not gonna get it right. Stacy, can you remind me what the 8x8, the frequency?
The 8x8 is typically one communication per week for 8 weeks. That's
that's not enough. You need to call them more than that after so you really should communicate with them that day, a thank you, and then you may want to schedule the next day, every other day. And you know, the sales ratios are, you got to get 7 no's before you give up, at least 7 no's, or at least 7 non-responses before you even consider giving up. But I want to go back to young lady Ebony. I think it was Ebony that mentioned that at the open house. Was that you?
No, I think that was Jasmine.
Okay, the faces moved around. Dang it. Yes, okay. I'm very visual, so I was like, oh, the faces moved around. Okay, so Jasmine, yes, at the open house, I leave the open house with a next step, which is meeting me in a buyer consultation. If I've hooked someone in a conversation, my script is, Jasmine, I really appreciate you coming through. After I've already bombarded them with 20, 30 questions anyways, now we have a rapport, so to speak. And I say, you know what, Jasmine, if they haven't signed anything, and I'm giving you what I do. If they have not signed anything with their realtor, and I ask them, are you currently working with someone to help you in this journey?
That's on my sheet, so I know that once we start talking.
Okay, so if they've said they're working with someone, and if I'm telling you what I do, if they say they're working with someone, I say, okay, great. Have you guys signed a commitment? If they say no, I said, I'll tell you what, Jasmine, here's what I'd love to do for you. This is a no cost obligation to meet with me for a buyer consultation. You're not obligated to work with me, and I appreciate the relationship that you're forging with your other agent. And I asked them that, like, have you had a consultation? Most of the time they haven't. So this is where you show value. Here is what I can do for you, Jasmine. I can show you how to win in this real estate market, pandemic 2020. Would that be of interest to you? So if you haven't gotten a buyer agreement signed, and your client meets with me, you won't get an agreement signed because they're going to be my client.
I know you told me.
Okay, seriously.
One thing that I really like about the whole situation, and just kind of adding on to what a lot of you ladies have already said, and a lot of people who've already been on this call before, like, we all have our motivation for getting into real estate, whether it be money motivated, you know, helping people, whatever your motivation is. But when you're in this business, your mental has to be locked into real estate, and you have to always be closing. Like, no matter what your engagement or involvement is with somebody, you know, whatever your desire is, that end goal is the end goal still. So whatever path you take to get there, whatever PR you do in between that, starting that end goal is still the end goal. So the end goal is to get a contract sold. You know, that's where everything needs to be steered and navigated towards. I think now, in hindsight, like the open houses I've done, and I feel like I've got some pretty warm clientele on a pretty nice price house, like probably well without where I am right now in my real estate career. But, you know, $750,000 house, that's a pretty nice commission if I can find a buyer. And I look at it as such, like, I just got to convince one person. I convince one person, but just add service to one person's journey to trust me enough to represent them in the purchase of this house. And, you know, I have to go back and do a better job of following up even now because the house still isn't sold. And I still feel like those relationships probably a lot cooler than what they once were. But, you know, those are still opportunities for me to go in there, dive in there, rekindle a relationship. If they haven't had any traction, then I can still win those people. But I have to be closing and not like CPR and, trying to help, help with the end goal being sign a contract and then my service and help really go to another level. So, you know, it's just a consistent thing I'm hearing through testimonies like yours.
Brian, absolutely. Let me tell you, and I know I said a lot in the beginning, but I don't know if anyone heard. Before I got into real estate, I was not in sales. Never done commission sales. I've been training and advising prior to real estate. So I'm not a salesy person. I'm very much a relationship person. And you have to, for those of you that are not salespeople, you have to think about it as you are a solution strategist. So Christina, I totally go with what you said. Death is one of the things we go in for. Things happen when people die. Just the way they get married, they die. They have babies, they get a divorce, they lose their jobs, they get a promotion. Every one of those things, we're going into solution mode. So it's not a sale. We are helping them with a problem. And if you think about it from that space, then Rachel, you're not irritating them. You're not, getting on their nerves, because if you met them and they expressed an interest in buying a home, then there's a need. It's filling a need. It's filling a problem. So if we think in that mindset all the time, I am in solutions mode. I was trolling social media during the pandemic, like just, I mean, you know, when we were all locked in. And I saw one of my past clients, they have had a baby, well, they had 2 babies, and the smallest baby was now walking. I put them in a condo 4 years ago, a 2-bedroom condo, when they had a farm baby. Now they have 2 walking babies. And the little baby was just jumping. And I, you know, they were doing the video, and I saw all these doggone toys. And I was like, good Lord. So I actually said something on her feed. I said, it looks like you need a yard and some more rooms. And she inboxed me. She's like, oh my gosh, we were just talking about you. You know, we were gonna, which means they didn't, or they hadn't yet. We were gonna call you. And I'm like, that's all right. And that ended up being a total of 179, 230, almost $400,000 in sales volume, because they bought and they sold in a 60-day time frame.
Can I
Just
add
by
one more
trolling.
thing?
Yes.
And this just comes from a sales perspective, because I know a lot of people, I don't know what everyone does or has done for their background, but I did have sales experience, and you know, just a lot of extensive sales experience. So, you know, you get comfortable with the process. And I think, like you, we're probably more relationship building type people, where we obviously have a genuine care. But when you're dealing with people, guys, and this is just, you know, me just throwing out information, you're going to hit a threshold where, you know, you have a job to do, and it's going to be like an uncomfortable situation where it's like, okay, am I being too pushy? Because the dynamic's going to be thrown off, because you're just meeting someone or have known someone, you're asking for something, there's trust issues there, there's dynamic issues there. And you're going to almost, like, if you don't have your script down or feel comfortable in your end goal, you're going to revert back to that relationship person, and it's going to be a soft close to where you don't ask for the business. You know what I mean? Like, you are going to hit that point where it's going to be like, okay, am I too pushy? Or like, can I ask now? Can I close now? Can I not close? To the point where you're going to be so nervous about the outcome, you're not going to get the business. So, you know, when I'm hearing people say practice these scripts, is because they're building their confidence in what they're saying, so that they can say it with confidence. For one, they can convey that message to whoever they're trying to represent. And for two, they get more comfortable with closing hard and getting no's, and realizing that you're providing a service and it's still a numbers game. We're still going to get no's, you know what I mean? But the more we get comfortable with these scripts and like really practice them, you know what I mean? Our closing ratio is going to become from 1 to 8 to 1 to 6 to 1 to 4. And then you can be, you know, we can be as confident as you going in, or like Ben, and just like, you know, because the end goal is still the same. It's still close, 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 close. So I just wanted just to add that to the table.
And on top of that, I think we have to get out of the mindset that we're salespeople. We're not salespeople. We have something that people want. We have access to information that people want. We have access to resources that people want. If people did not want what you have, they would not be at your open house. They see that you're a realtor on Facebook, on Instagram, you're doing your networking, your marketing, you have on a name tag. They would not be talking to you if you did not have something that they at least think that they may want. So anything that you're sharing with these people, anything that you have to offer, anything that you can give them or advise them on, or anything that, I mean, you are a resource. So it's like when we talk about, the sales, I think that makes us feel like we're trying to push something onto people that they don't want, when truly they're coming to you because they do want it. They just don't know how to get it. If I had a pocket full of money and you didn't have any, wouldn't you ask me how I get my money or what steps you need to take in order to get some money? So it's like you have access to a home, to, you know, to a lender, to an inspector, or whatever you have in your arsenal, and they don't have it. So you're not a salesperson, you're just a resource that gets paid at the end.
Thank you so much, Christina. Did anyone else have any other sources of buyers that you have explored or were curious about? Yes. Anybody else?
I need Conrad, and I want to go back to the open house situation. A customer walks in, you ask them, are you working with somebody that said yes, right? And then you pursue further by asking them if they signed anything, or if they didn't sign an agreement with whomever they're working with. Now you rope them in and bring them to your side. Now, is that ethical?
If they do not have a signed buyer's agreement, it's not unethical, because you don't.
They said they don't have a signed agreement, but they are working with somebody presently.
if you don't have a signed buyer's agreement, but listen, that's their comfort level to answer. I always ask the question, hey, Conrad, after I have built rapport, I don't come in with that. I've asked them 20, 30 questions because we're at an open house. They came to talk about the house or they're interested in the house. So I'm answering questions. I'm giving them something, as Christina mentioned, that they may not have been aware of. And I do that on purpose because I'm asking a million questions. I'm not talking. I'm asking questions. So they're going to say something that gives me the thought that maybe they didn't have a consultation because they don't know what they're doing. So in that, after I've asked a lot of questions, I say, okay, well, great, Conrad. I'm just curious, are you working with someone to help you through this journey? And again, if they've given me great information in the beginning and they sound very versed, I'm not going to push it. If I feel them struggling because they don't know things or they don't know the area, they don't know something, and they said they work with, so, okay, well, wonderful. I'm curious, have you guys gone into a written agreement? And if they say no, then that's when I offer them a consultation, because here is my philosophy. And this is just me personally, professionally. I am never wasting time when I do a buyer consultation, because part of my 5-item job description is to practice my scripts. So if I bring that person in and I do a consultation and they still don't work with me, it was not a waste of my time because I still got to sharpen my saw for the next person. Does that make sense, guys? Then I've done part of my job. So if they choose to still work with the person they're working with, more power to them. They're more empowered, and I've done community service.
Gotcha.
Question, Ms. Graves.
Yes.
So I have an ex-coworker that was recently engaged. They're going to be getting married in October. She invited me to the wedding. I've spoken with her in the past, about me getting my license and potentially assisting them with the home. But the last time I spoke with her, I think she's probably overwhelmed with trying to get the wedding out of the way. I've already sent them a note, but I'm just seeking advice on how I can kind of facilitate that relationship to transition into, me helping them find their home. I don't want, it to time to go by and then they decide not to move forward.
So let me make sure I heard you correctly. How far in the future did they say they were looking? How far before they're ready to work with you?
She didn't specify, because I know initially when she when she first got engaged, she was saying that she was interested in looking for a home, and I wanted to help her with that. But when I followed up with her more recently, and this is after COVID and everything, she said that she wanted to focus on the wedding. So it's not kind of really at the forefront of their mind. And I believe they're long distance right now, so he lives out of state.
Okay.
So.
Here's a great, in my opinion, hook. This consultation, and we are going to spend the next portion, once we get to that, on the consultation. I'm going to show you what I do. For me, that is the hook. So what I would say to you, Ebony, if you were the person, if you were the friend and you were thinking about your wedding, I'd say, you know what, Ebony, I'm so excited for you guys. And I know you've got a lot of planning going on. And I know after the wedding is over, you guys are going to consider buying something of your own or moving in together, however you want to say that. So what I'd love to do, Ebony, is for us to go ahead and have our consultation, because it's never too early to go through the home buying process, so that when you're ready, we will be ready to hit the market and you'll be armed. Okay. All I want to do is get the appointment. And that's our other objective in this class. We're going to find the lead and then we're going to hook them in, because guaranteed, if I know my stuff in my consultation and I add value, all I'm selling right then is that they're going to work with me and sign my BBA, Conrad. That's all I care about. I don't care about the house. I care about the relationship. Because whether it's today or they're going to buy 6 months from now, I want to be the person that they use. So if I get them hooked when they sign on the line, they've made a commitment to me. So then again, it's up to me to continue to follow up, because that life event can happen in a minute. They telling you right now, they're going to wait till after the wedding, something's going to happen, and they're going to be looking at houses. Next thing you know, they're writing a contract. Like, oh, we forgot about you. It happens. It happens every time. I promise you. But if you hook them in to agreeing to meet with you, then you're going to sell your value in that buyer consultation. Guaranteed, you're going to tell them something or inform them of something they were not aware of, and they're going to see why they need you. And what you're selling or what you're getting them to commit to is to work with you. And then the property comes next. Questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
I have Claudette. So I get people to call me and, let me slow down. The consultation. Should I have that consultation and should I have them sign on the dotted line, even if I have to extend the contract out for a year before I start giving them information, like sending them to a lender and all of those things? So my question is, before I start giving them my resources, should I have them sign on the dotted line? I would like that.
You've got to sell value, in my opinion. You've got to sell value first, Claudette. Why am I signing with you? What am I going to get by signing with you? So if your script is strong enough to convince me that I need to agree to work with you before you give me a lender name, then by all means do it. But if your script's not that strong, then you're going to have to show value as to why they should be working with you. Now, it doesn't mean give them everything. I just had this conversation actually on a lead. Someone called in on a sign call on one of my listings, and we had a great conversation, and then we were getting to the point of they're selling their house in Florida and they need to move here, and I was trying to get them to pre-qualify. We haven't had a consult yet because I really want to know where her budget is. So my script would be like this: Hey, Claudette, we've talked about the things that you want in your home, and I'm really excited to help you make this transition here to Atlanta. And I know you said you already have a partner to work with on the home to sell. So what I'd like to do is get a firm idea of where our budget is on the home that you want to purchase here. And of course, they're going to give you a number. And then the question is, okay, well, Claudette, how did you come across that number? Like, how did you come to that number? And it's either a price or a payment. I say, okay, so one of the ways I'm always helping my clients win. One of the ways I'm going to help you win in this seller's market, Claudette, is to know exactly what our purchase power is. And the way we do that, because sellers are looking for an approval letter or a bank statement to show how you can purchase this home. So they kept fighting about not wanting to pre-qual. And then I, at the end of the conversation, I said, when you are comfortable and confident that you're ready to move forward, actually what the lady just said on the video, I didn't realize I said that. I was like, when you're comfortable and confident that you're ready to move forward, then our next step will be to work with a lender to firm up our budget. Once we have the budget, then in our consultation, we can look more strategically at homes for you. And she was ready to get the numbers, because I was like, why am I sending you homes if I don't even know what the budget is? I'm like, I would not be doing you a service if I sent you a home that couldn't be yours. Would you agree?
Yes.
And that's what she said, yes. Like, I wouldn't be doing you a service. So to answer your question, I'm going to go back to my initial statement though. Even if I do a consultation, if they don't work with me, I'm still doing number 5 in my job description. I'm practicing my script, right? And now, because we can do them on video, you're really not burning any time. It's not like you got to drive to the office or meet them anywhere. You get online. If they're not there in the next 10 minutes, then you don't have a meeting.
At that point, you do not have a signed contract with her. At that point, you're offering some value to her, correct?
Right.
The conversation that you just had. Okay.
We're not going to look at houses until I have a signed agreement. But right. Me personally, I'm doing buyer consultations before a buyer's agreement. Because I'm explaining to them the buyer's agreement in the consultation, why they should sign one before we go look at homes.
But that's my question. So if they're sitting before you and you're doing the consultation, they want to work with you, do you send them out, like say, hey, here's a lender, or while you're there, sign this, and now I'm giving you a lender?
Honestly, if like the lady that I spoke with yesterday, I gave her my lender partners before we even get together for a consultation. Because that's helping me. That giving them that resource is helping me. Because I'm not necessarily wasting time. I know in the consultation if this is practice or if I'm if I'm really gonna get a client. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna get someone that's motivated, ready to go now.
So
Does that make sense?
You just gave her your lender phone number, or you had your lender call her?
I do both. It just depends on the conversation with the person. If I feel like they're proactive, then I'll give them the number. And then sometimes, depending if they're a little hesitant, I say, well, and if you're more comfortable, or if you're comfortable, I can have them both give you a call. Because, we have to give more than one. So I can say, hey, I'll give them both your number if you're comfortable with it and have them give you a call.
I have a question.
Did that answer your question? I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Alicia, did that answer your question, Rachel?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Rachel.
Alicia, hold on one second. Y'all, after the break, Toshma is going to perform the whole thing for you, and she's going to answer a whole lot of your questions because she's going to do it in front of you. So, right, Toshma?
Lord. Stacy, I'm sorry, Stacy. I just looked at somebody's name. Stacy, am I close? Or how much time do I have before break?
Well, I mean, we usually go till 2:30 and it's
okay. Yeah. No, that's great because we can talk about the.
You got 30 more minutes.
Perfect. So we can talk about the qualifying our buyers. So, but again, before we move,
I hate to, Alicia, if you got something.
Well, I was just going to ask, how do we go about building a relationship with lenders? But if she's going to go over that, that's fine.
Not exactly. I wasn't going to go over that. But what I will say is you've got how many people on the screen? 35 people on the screen. You've got 200 to 300 people, depending on whose office you're in or more. I say don't reinvent the wheel. Take a poll, get on the Facebook groups, our closed groups, and say, hey, I'm a newer agent and I need a great informative lender. And people, trust me, are going to give you feedback.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? If you work out of a specific office, can you just say, hey, I want to bring you in for, or have you meet with a lender, and say you're like located on a specific side of town, like say someone's off Camp Creek and there's an office off there. Can I bring them to that office even though I'm not in that office? Like, how does that dynamic work between offices? Can I use like the in-house lender there if I have a rapport with them? Like, is that okay? Or should I bring them to my office but using my in-house lender?
Stacey, you had feedback?
Brian, the lender doesn't have to be physically located. They may never even meet. It may be just all online and by phone. So I would not be, I wouldn't do what you're suggesting. I'd still be using the preferred lender from your office. But in addition, I'm going to recommend everybody develop a sheet of paper where you've got 3 lenders that you can, at any moment, you can send to somebody. That's what we recommend. Best practice is to, when you recommend a vendor for anything, offer 3 choices, because then it's not going to come back on you. That they make the choice of who they're going to use. But Brian, you can call them and ask, may I use one of your conference rooms to meet with my client? Absolutely. I just wouldn't do the lender thing.
Right. Okay, just now before we move on to qualifying, did anyone else have any other sources of leads that you are using that you can share with the group or would like to use that you have a question about?
Hi guys, I'm Helen. I'm using the neighborhood app and I post my cards every day, and I'll just kind of come up with something cool to say, like I'm your neighborhood realtor, or I'm your neighborhood agent. Nice to meet you. Would love to introduce myself to you. Here's my business card. And I've gotten 2 leads so far from it. So one person is kind of going through the process of getting approved, and another one is just kind of in the background. But you know, I'm hopeful. So I've been using the neighborhood app. I use Facebook a lot. I post every day on Instagram and Facebook every single day. I've also come up with a first-time home buyer seminar that I'll be doing monthly. If any of you guys want to join in on it, that'd be great. Well, I have a lender, a credit repair specialist, and a financial coach, and of course myself. So that's kind of what I'm doing to try to get some leads. So, yep. And then I check the for sale by owners list like I'm crazy every single day, and try and see what I can scout in my neighborhood. So that's it.
Okay. Cool. All right. I saw somebody's face here, so don't think I can't see your faces here. Who was that? Was it Cindy? Can't see your face now. Cindy,
Sorry.
Is there a Cindy with us?
Hi.
Yeah, Cindy,
Can't hear you.
unmute.
Who? How?
Oh, I
how
thought
are
I
you?
unmuted. It didn't do it.
There you go. So Cindy, what sources are you using to find buyers?
For me, I am a dual career until September 1. So I'm leaving my company. So it's a little more difficult, but what I'm doing is I'm cultivating relationships with the people that I currently work with. In fact, I had several calls this morning, just checking in with people, letting them know what I'm doing, getting the, figuring out what they're doing. And then I do have a good listing that I have too from friends who are getting a divorce, like we talked about. That's a life-changing event. So hopefully in the future too, they're moving into rentals, but then I'm assuming they'll buy later. And so hopefully that's something I can cultivate there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Cindy. And is that
Jenny?
Did I pronounce it right, Sing?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Conrad, hold on a second.
Sorry. Hi.
One second. Yes. Hi. So, Sing, what sources are you using to find buyers?
I'm actually just been using my contacts, and I have a couple of clients that sign with me, but some of them still need a little boost on their credit score. So we're working on fixing those credit scores. And then another clients of mine, they're already pre-approved, but they haven't find the house that they really like. So we just been waiting.
This is Claudette. Brandy, how are you?
So, but I've been just working on my contacts, and then I've been, contacting my Facebook friends and my Instagram friends as well. So just been really actively just, calling them constantly and bothering them a lot, but it's been good progress.
Remember, we're not bothering, we're helping them.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if they're renting or they're living with someone and they don't want to be, then we're helping them.
I'm trying to think positive. So
okay. Awesome.
It's just been a really interesting process.
Okay. I'm sorry. So Conrad, yes.
Yeah, my main source is actually I got a couple that are 2 sources that are primarily my lead sources. My golfing buddies, I'm in a lot of, I play golf and I meet, with the group, and of course, other people that I meet on the golf course. After the 18th hole, you have the 19th hole, and we're all sitting down having a conversation and just going over some things, strategy on how the game went, what it could have done better, or, this all was a bomb for me or the other. And then we're working into the whole conversation, relationships, and investments. And so I have been able to, actually fortunate to pick up 2 guys that are looking for investment properties and residential, to rehab and possibly sell. And out of that conversation as well, I've picked up a few rentals that I'm still trying to find for. And the other source is I walk a lot in my neighborhood, and I'm talking to anybody I see on the street. I don't knock on doors. Anybody I see on the street from across the ways, we will say hello and chat and, say, hey, this is what I do, or what are you doing? How are you doing today? Just building relationship with people in the neighborhood as well as I go walking. So golf course and then, my neighborhood to this point. And it's working out for me besides my contacts that are sources that I have already. But these are new things that I added to help me, lead generate.
Awesome.
Another thing I've done, I've taken advantage of COVID. A lot of people are working from home now. And the more time you spend in an environment, I mean, it was different before when people were coming and going. But now that a lot of people are 100% work from home, they realize how much they don't like that home. Or now that them and their wife and their kids are all in the same space, they realize that their house isn't big enough to accommodate everyone's, learning or business or whatever. And they're looking for more space. So if people are working from home, just say, how's that going for you? And if they say, oh, it's been tough or it's been rough, have you considered buying a new home? Do you need more space? Is that something that's on you and your family's radar? You're just asking the questions. Like, they want you to ask. They have given you information. They are sharing information with you because they want you to engage with them. They're looking for attention. So give it to them. If they're, people are boasting or freely telling you that they don't like, their work from home situation, they're asking for help inadvertently. So talk to them. It doesn't hurt you.
Very good observation, Christina. And absolutely, guys, I can't stress enough. And again, I remember, I'm not a salesy person. I'm not an automatic salesperson. So I'm looking for opportunities where I can connect with someone. This time right now is one of the best times. Having done this for 15 years now, it is the best time. This is such an easy conversation to have with people in your phone, and you're not being salesy. So Celeste, can you see me, Celeste? Oh, there you are. Okay. So if I called Celeste, can you unmute yourself? Can you unmute yourself? Yeah. So let's say Celeste is my friend and I'm calling Celeste and I'm saying, hey, Celeste, how's it going? I just, you've been on my mind and I really just want to see how you and your family were doing. You just come back.
Yeah, we're doing good. Just found out the kids are going to be doing virtual learning this year. So, we're a little bit stressed with that, and me doing remote working, we're all stuck at the house.
Man, okay. So yes, definitely a change in the home environment. So now it's a work home environment. Is that true?
Yes,
okay.
We're all on top of each other.
Man, so where are the kids gonna do school? Where are they gonna have their schoolroom set up?
I mean, right now it's like, they're in their bedroom and I'm in my bedroom. I'm trying to do my remote work. I'm trying to pop in them and make sure they're doing their homework. But it's just, we really need designated areas and more space. We're all on top of each other.
Okay, awesome. So what would that look like? What would that space look like to you? How would that work best for you?
Well, I'm not sure. I was hoping, maybe you could help me because, our income has gone down a little bit, because of what's going on, but we need more space. So, what do you think is, and is that an option for me or?
Well, what is great about this time, and me, I'm always looking for the glass half full. What's great about this time, Celeste, is that while people are experiencing some turmoil in their employment, interest rates are at an all-time low. So this is a terrific time to still be able to maximize the money that income that you do have, and we may very well be able to get you to move up into more space. So if we're able to accomplish that, Celeste, how would that make you feel to kind of be able to spread out?
I would feel great if we could, spend the same amount or less than we are now and get the space. Our life would be tremendously better.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad I called it because I can absolutely help you with that. So what I'm going to do, Celeste, is run some activity in your neighborhood, and let's just see where you are and you guys in your current home and see how much equity you guys have, and then we can properly position for that buy. And you might be able to just make a lateral payment move. How would that sound?
That would sound great. So do I need to do anything, or are you going to do something and follow up with me, or what's the next step?
Absolutely. I'm going to follow up with you. I'm going to send you your activity in your neighborhood tonight, and then let's set up for a video consult with you and your partner, and then we can look at how to help you win moving into that next house.
Great. Sounds good.
So what do you guys think? Did it sound pressury, salesy?
No.
Questions, basic question. Everybody in your phone has been impacted by COVID. You can find and qualify. So qualifying the buyer is not just financial. That piece is going to come, obviously. If they're not paying cash, and even if they're paying cash, you want to see where the money is, how quickly are they going to be able to access it. Those are other questions that we're going to answer. But qualifying also means their motivation, their timeline. What's the pressure point? So just by those few questions, I already know that Celeste is busting at everybody's home. So the good news is, even if the income has been impacted, they're employed. So that's good. Somebody has a source of income. We know that the kids are going to be home. So now this is a pressure point. It's not a matter of, oh, we can take it or leave it. They don't have anywhere to do work, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. And now she has to work from home, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. So now that's pressure. It's pressure on her family. That's pressure on the emotions. That's pressure on all of that. So you need to pick up on that's a motivation. So what did I say? If I can show you between the equity in your house and today's interest rates, if I can show you a home that you can expand in and make a lateral move in your payment, how would that make you feel? I don't know if you saw her face, but she started smiling. So I don't know if that was a fake smile or she really was thinking about it or what, but that's what you want. What do you guys think?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. How did you feel having that conversation with me, Celeste? Did you feel like I was pressuring you? Was I giving you something you didn't want? Or, I mean, you can be honest. Cool.
Yeah, I think the script was right.
Can't hear you.
It's all in the script. You gotta know your script, I think. But that was good.
Did anybody have any questions? I didn't know if I saw any questions. Okay, so let's look at qualifying the buyer. Is it 2:30? Okay, we have time. So part of your education, before we get to, well, actually part of qualifying the buyer is to have your education and your information. So I forget the young lady that asked me about the lender. It is very important for you to have a communication, an open and fluid communication with your lending partners. It's also important to stay up on your sales meetings, because most of them, I think, we do similar things in those meetings. They're reporting out on interest rates, new programs that are going away. Your peers are telling you about homes that are for sale that haven't hit the market yet. Those are all nuggets that you can use to empower your clients or potential clients. That's that information, that's that value that they're looking for as to why they should work with you. I can easily tell any one of you that didn't know Keller Williams, hey, Brian, I know you guys have been saying, hey, when I find the right deal, we're going to be ready to move. Well, I just became aware of a property with one of my peers that hasn't even hit the market yet that I think would be amazing for you. When would you like to see it before everybody else? Of course, if that's something that piques his interest, that's what he's going to speak to. Great. Before we take a look at that home, I'd love for us to get a quick video consultation in so that we're ready, because if you like it, we need to move on it before it hits the market. What do you think? So that again, knowing your information, you have to go to your sales meetings, you got to talk, or at least attend, read the information. You got to know what rates look like. You need to know what your market looks like. If you're working in Brookhaven, it's a different look than when you're working in Palmetto. Whatever your market is, know what the statistics are for that area. Are houses moving quickly? Are they moving slowly? What's the average sales price? That's just as important for a buyer as it is for a listing agent, because you need to set expectations. That's what it's all about in the buyer consultation as well. You want to set expectations so that you help your client win. And the winning may just be that you set the expectation that they're not going to get everything they want. It's always a win though. The lose is when they get blindsided. That's the lose, and that's what they're going to tell all their friends about. I can share testimonials of people that I worked with, and they were like, it wasn't the easiest process, but Tashma told us that's exactly what they said. They're like, she told us what to expect, and we were able to maneuver through, and we're just so excited that we still got the home that we want. As opposed to them telling the whole world that they didn't even know that they were supposed to have this, that, and the third. Okay, so we set expectations. So again, as you prepare to qualify your buyers, you want to be informed about the areas in general that you work in. You want to be informed about what today's interest rates look like. Any kind of statistics, if the schools in there, especially if you're but if you're focusing on a particular area, if you're farming a particular area, a particular neighborhood, know what the schools are doing. Because right now that's very relevant for people that have school-age children. So if those are the folks that you're talking to, then know when the schools are going back. Know if they're going to be half virtual and half in person, because there's your opportunity right there. Imagine if they're renting in a 2-bedroom and they have 2 kids, and now they've got a homeschool or virtual school, and they're working from home. That's a pressure point, guys. I'm sure you all can go through your phone right now and think of some people that is not a good situation. And you're the solution person. You're there to help them. Hey, I got rates under 3%. I got you in a 2-bedroom when you need to be in a 4-bedroom. You still got your job and you're working from home. Check, that's a good thing. And you need space to throw the kids, because you can't be doing your job and they're doing school. That's a perfect opportunity. That could be anybody in your phone. Questions? Oh, y'all all looking at me all glassy-eyed. Okay.
No, we're not. Excited. This is the class I've been waiting for. So
yeah, we're all absorbing.
All right, help me now. Help me.
Like, it's been great, but this is, you walking down the street and I'm right behind you, Miss Tashma. Right. I'm on your heels.
Okay, so
do you want the other video?
Yes, let's do that. Actually, would be great, because then I probably will segue us into the break. Okay.
Okay, but you can answer questions. I need 1 second.
Okay, perfect. So what are some other things that you guys have had some experience with in terms of qualifying a lead? Give me some experiences you've had. Some things that have snagged you, or some things you've been successful with.
I have found that a lot of people are afraid of the buying process. Like, they don't know, because it's something that they're not familiar with, especially if they've never purchased before. What prohibits a lot of people, what stands in the way of a lot of people being owners versus renters, is fear. They don't know what to expect, what it's going to take. Oh, I heard that's hard. I heard it's going to, I heard it's going to be stressful, and, all of those kind of pre-existing fears before you even, start talking about your spiel. You have their fear in the way of them even seeing past paying rent every month.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
So my issue is that I'm new to Keller Williams, and I sold in another market, and I was a listing agent. And I just like my patience. So my patience with buyers, I've only had like 2 buyers in my life. And I had them pick out their own house, and then I did negotiations for them, which is not cool, I know. But so I guess, like, how do you control your buyers? Like, we can't go look at 40 houses. I don't have that type of time. I don't want to do that. I'm not.
Okay. Can I give you guys a sneak peek if Stacy hasn't told you about it already? And do not share this. This is just between us. My consultations are nowhere near 30 minutes. My consultations are at least an hour and a half to 2 hours, sometimes longer. Now, I don't lie to my prospective buyer. What I say is, Claudette, I'm so excited about us going on this home buying journey together. Listen, I want to make sure we get all of your questions answered. We're going to have a strategic plan on how to help you win in this market. And what I need is about 30 to 40 minutes for the information that I'm going to share with you. It could go longer depending on your questions. That's what I say. And I guarantee you, I never have a 30-minute consultation. Because to answer your question, Claudette, when we come out of the consultation, I have set expectations. I will tell people we will not be looking at 40 houses. We will not be looking at 20 houses. We will not be looking at 10 houses. We're going to look at 3 to 5 homes. And if we end up looking at more than 5, we either need to come back for a reassessment or you need to fire me. Now, it's taking me a long time to say fire me because, of course, we get scared like, oh, God, we don't want them to fire us. But trust me, if you've shown 20 houses and they still haven't picked one, you either hope they're firing you or you're going to fire them. So it's not fun, okay? But the reason I can say that now with confidence, when honestly I could have said it many years ago, I just didn't realize it, is because I'm doing the homework up front. I'm previewing. I'm always previewing. If I don't have anything else to do, I don't have a client to see, I'm tired of making phone calls, then I'm going to preview. Period. Because then I'm increasing my product knowledge. I know what's out in the marketplace. I can speak with confidence. So we're going to look at 3 to 5 homes. So I've either not listened to you in the consultation in those 2 hours, I did not listen, then you should fire me because that's my job. My job is to listen to your needs and come to solution. Okay.
Okay, I'm
Can
ready
I say
to do
something? So I have a client, right? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I have a client and she's moving from one state to the next. And what she wants has changed 4 times. So that's not the situation where initially when we got together, she's like, oh, I want 2 to 5 acres of land. I want 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, possibly 4. And that was our first conversation. Then our second conversation, it changed. And she says, well, I'm going to open up a in-home in-care facility for the elderly. So I'm looking for 6 bedrooms, right? Mm-hmm. And then when we met together, that changed. And now she wants an older home. So it's changing. It's just ever changing. I've showed her everything she wanted, an older home, over 100 years old. It's a total regut. Then she goes into the property and she immediately looks for something she doesn't like. And I said, well, wait, hold on. You said you wanted 2 to 5 acres. This has 3 acres. You said you wanted an older home. This is an older home. You said you wanted 4 bedrooms. This has 4 bedrooms.
Hey, Helen.
So, yeah.
In the interest of time, can we, I mean, you've got a horror story on your hands. And
I do. That's fine. That's fine. That's cool.
Okay.
The short answer is I would go do another consultation. And I've said that to people. That's the short answer.
Sounds good. All right, cool. Thank you.
Okay, are we ready for you, Stacy?
Yep.
Needs analysis. The systematic process of collecting information about needs, wants, and desires that is used to establish and define goals. Step 2 of the buyer consultation is the needs analysis. Only when you understand what is ultimately important to your customers can you deliver it. Many agents ask their clients, what do you want in a house, and stop there. They don't realize the answer to that question isn't the same as what do you need or what's important to you. Determining your customer's core wants, needs, and values is a process. Draw a line down the middle of a piece of paper and write needs on the left and wants on the right, and use it to track their needs and wants as you go through this process. At this point, you will have a clear understanding of what buyers need versus what they want, but you are not done. Now, you want to drill down and uncover their values by finding out why they need and want what they do. Use this question: what about blank is important to you? Let's see how it works. Say your buyer has told you that they want or need a large yard. You say,
What's about a large yard that's important to you?
your buyer says, I like to garden. You ask,
You like gardening, and what's important about gardening?
your buyer says, I like to spend time outdoors. It helps me relax. You ask,
Makes you feel relaxed, and what's important about being relaxed?
your buyer says, when I'm relaxed, I can spend more quality time with my wife. Bullseye. A large yard equals family. At this point, you have uncovered a value. You can now look for other ways it applies to your buyer.
A large yard is important because it allows you to spend quality time with your wife, correct? So what else about your new home would be important to you in terms of spending more time with your wife?
Okay.
Right.
So
it's about,
what did you, yeah, so we got 3 minutes. Give me some ahas or feedback about the video, anyone.
Asking more questions is important.
We
Okay.
think of when we bought our house. It's Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't even in my, I didn't think I'd be here one day, but having a finished basement never was on my list when starting to look, and then ended up that was required because of family visiting and stuff like that. But I never would have just written that down, you know. I didn't grow up with one or anything, so.
Okay. So we got the questions. Nick, anything on the video that piqued your interest or gave you an aha?
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting how he kind of asked like why the garden was important, and then that led to the next thing, so they can relax, and then how they can spend more time with his wife.
Right. So that level, the deepening of the questions, how do you see how that helps you do your job more effectively?
Yeah, definitely.
So you set yourself aside or apart from every other agent that's an order taker. And I tell people that I'm not an order taker. I am solution strategist. There is a difference. Anybody can show you 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with a yard. But when I know that the yard is because you want to spend more time, quality time with your wife, then when we hit that backyard, I'm like, Nick, can you imagine those evenings that you're sitting out with your wine with your wife and watching the stars? And he's in, because I've now chimed into what he said was important to him. Then me saying, hey, here's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath with the yard. So Helen, as a piggyback to some of what you were asking as well, layer the questions, because something's changing for a reason. What is your client's ultimate vision of this land and what it's going to provide her family or her career? And maybe you can chime into something that she's hasn't told you yet, because or she hasn't discovered, because you know it's bouncing around, but there's a reason. So what is the land really going to provide? What is this whole company or the taking care of the elderly, what is that going to give her as a person? Like what's the ultimate outcome? Because it's more the house, the property is just a vehicle to get people to what they want.
Yeah, it just seems like it just keeps changing though, but yeah, I'll do that.
Keep layering the questions.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, we're at 2:30.
Hold on. We gotta, I'm gonna show them the YouTube channel, and I have to take pictures before they run off. Hold on just a sec. All right. Da, 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 da. Look at this. Scott Hardy and I worked on this morning. Y'all see this? Woohoo! So the name of the page is, you can just Google youtube.com. I mean, go to youtube.com and in the search bar type Rawls Group Virtual Ignite. And when you, I'm in the, anyway, subscribe to it, and we've got, oh wait, let me click on videos. So, woo! Anyway, everybody good with that?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, now it's picture time. Sorry, hold on a second.
Ms. Graves, before we go, can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
If we have multiple buyer scripts to choose from, how do you think we should choose the one to use?
If you have multiple buyer scripts to use, how do you choose? It's a good question. I don't know that there's necessarily has to be one size fits all. I would pick one that you feel most comfortable with and perfect it. And then you can go a little off script. So whichever one speaks to you. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, the gentleman on the tape just now, like I after the second time he said, "What about that is important to you?" It sounded very robotic. I could not say that. But you best believe I get down 3 levels just like he does. My thing is, how does that make you feel? Because I'm a feely person. But I'm still saying the same thing.
Phil.
You see what I'm saying? So I would take one because when you're new, you don't know any of it. So you pick one and just start perfecting it. And then you can put your personality on it. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Yes, it does.
All right. How about break? Woohoo! 15 minutes. So be back at 2:48.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you guys. See you in a bit.
Joshua, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. I keep getting a warning on my computer screen saying that my speaker's not working. So.
Yep, I hear you.
Okay. Do you see on the screen this Facebook?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The reason, I wanted to show everybody that here's the actual names of the 3 Rawls Group Facebook pages. KW-the Rawls Group is the main one. I have so much open on my computer that it's not being responsive. Anyway, KW Rawls Group open house host needs, oh, there you go. So, ooh, baby, this is slow. Anyway. Rawls Group for buyers and sellers only. And anyway, just thought I'd share that.
Stacey, what office,
okay.
where are you guys located?
Where what?
Where is the Rawls Group?
Oh, the Rawls Group offices are in the same building as the First Atlanta, Sandy Springs.
Okay.
But we're all the Rawls Group. All of our offices plus First Atlanta. So
okay.
Yes. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. Beep, 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 beep. And Chris, it's time to take shots. Claudette, Conrad, Christina, Trina, need that video on. Stetson, Dwayne, there we go. Hey, Stetson.
Here, I'm here. Claudette is here.
Okay, still need There's
Trying
Trina.
to get my video up. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Being weird.
Okay. Take the old
There you
screenshot.
go.
One more sec. Okay, and guys, I'm just gonna mention this in a general way. The rules that we, the facilitators, have to follow that were outlined by Outfront Education, and Outfront Education, it has to follow the GREC rules, are that we have to be able to see your face the entire class. Except for when you sign out and sign back in, you know, to go to the restroom. And there are a number of you that has not been the case. So you will be counted as absent today. And please talk to your market center person about that. Thanks. Okay, Tashma, take it away.
Before you go, can you, it's a number of us. I don't know who the number is. Could you let us know?
Are you the number?
So we know who needs to contact who. I mean, our market center people. I mean, it's not enough to say it's a number of you. We need to.
Right, because we don't know. So.
Yeah.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you, Stacy.
Sorry. All right. At Peachtree Road, it's Katie Staples. At the Buckhead office, it's Ben Heidenreich. At the Cityside office, it's Jill Matsios. I think I'm pronouncing that right. At Atlanta North, it is Michelle Byers. At Atlanta River, it's me. And
I think my question was, I missed my question. You said a number of us. So for the attendees, who needs to contact the respective?
Hey, Conrad.
Yes.
I'm not going to take up class time pointing people out. You are not one of them. You
Okay,
have
that's
your
all.
video on. Thank you.
All right, let's go.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So hope you guys had a great break. Hopefully, trustfully, this next session will be very insightful and educational. Please, I'm going to walk through the home buying consultation that I use. It is very similar in content to the ones that you have on Command and in your Connect. It is not word for word. This has been a process that I've used over the years, and this is currently what I use. But before we jump into the actual consultation, and you should have received an email from Stacy with a copy of what I use, both the presentation as well as the blank BBA and the blank purchase and sale. Okay, but before we go into that, I want to backtrack just a wee bit to make sure we are clear and on the same page about the importance of qualifying the buyer. So it's not just the financial piece, but it's also the motivation. So in your student guide, I think you should have a document that says buyer lead sheet. So make sure if you don't have that in front of you, just make sure you access it and again, start to study those questions at the bottom. And once you are comfortable with those questions, then you can, veer off course if you like, but, well, not veer off course, add your own personality to it. But make sure you're asking those questions because you want to know in your, excuse me, in your manual on page, well, mine is page 20, but it says qualify the buyer. You want to know what kind of price range they're in. You want to know their motivation. Are they an A client, meaning they're ready to move in 30 to 45 days? Are they a B client where they're 3 to 6 months? Or are they a C client? Are they 6 months in and out? If real estate is your career, they're all important. Now, because we all have bills every month, we want the 8 people all the time. Understandable. However, if this is your career, then the ones that are 6 to 12 months out, 6 to 12 months will roll around again if we're blessed to see another day. So don't forget about them and check in, because as we had the conversation, I think it was with Jasmine or Ebony, the person that is getting married, a life event can happen and that 6 months turns into 6 weeks. So if you're not checking in on a regular basis, you're going to miss your opportunity. And sometimes you can, by showing value and finding that hot button, you can actually take that timeline from 6 months to 6 weeks. I had a buyer during the pandemic. We met right before they shut everything down. And she wasn't scheduled to close, or her lease wasn't up until September. But we were doing her consultation, because this is exactly what I say. I'm not just teaching you guys this is what I say. I'm like, it's never too early to do a consultation. Brought her in February. We were planning out for October. And I said, is there anything outside of your lease that would keep you from moving forward with your home investment? And she was like, no, I just don't want to, have a lease, and I can't break my lease. Do you know she moved into her house at the first week of May? So we negotiated, which is another class that I won't be teaching, but we negotiated her contract where the money that she would have spent on rent, we got in closing costs. So we made it work, and she got to capitalize on a really great rate and gave herself plenty of time to move, and she wasn't paying double rent. So again, we found the hot button. She was ready to move. The only thing that kept her from moving was the lease. So we go into solution mode. Again, we don't wait. If I would have waited, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not the strongest follow-up person. I'm gonna be honest. So I know that about myself. So that's why I stay on them. So you tell me 6 months and I'm like, I'm gonna drop the ball somewhere. So I'm like, okay, let me see if I can match your intensity. Is there a reason that we can move this up?
That was so smart.
Okay. Who said something? Dion? Oh, I thought someone
Yeah,
said something.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but did we take pictures? Because I thought we were coming back at 2:58.
Stacy?
It was 2:48.
Oh, so I missed the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my bad. Thank you.
So in your manual, there is a section that says qualify. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 qualifiers, things that are important to help you make a determination on how to move this person forward. What's their price point? What is their motivation? Where do they want to live? Wants and needs, their timeline, their finances, and availability. So you see, finances are just one part of it. Okay. How do you guys feel about when you're working clients right now? How do you feel about referring someone out, or do you try to work everyone you get? Give me some feedback.
If you call me, I'll be there. I'm not referring anyone anywhere right now. That's where I am.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I referred someone out, but they were in Savannah, but it was someone that I knew, and I knew it just wasn't feasible for me to go back and forth to Savannah. And to my understanding, we can't even open up their lock boxes. So because they're on a different MLS. And so I referred her to an agent that I knew in Savannah, and it's worked really well.
Awesome. Anybody else have any feedback about leads that you're getting now? Do you have a problem, or do you have a concern about referring someone out? Okay. What about the flip side? Are you letting everyone you know, are you letting them know you are a relocation specialist? Am I getting yeses? I'm getting some blank stares. LaTanya, I see your head going no.
Yes.
Okay. We are relocation specialists. We can help everyone. because our footprint and our market share is worldwide.
Yes.
So a percentage of something is better than 100% of nothing. Would you agree? Not 2019, but 2018, I made $10,000 in referrals, just referrals. And literally all I did was, hey, Sarah, I didn't know that your mom lived in California and you mentioned that she was wanting to sell her home. Sarah, did you know I'm a relocation specialist? I can help your mom in California. Let me get the very best partner I can find for her, and I will connect you guys. Is that okay? And that's all I did. And then I found the best contact for Sarah's mom, and check came in the mail. Okay, so you can work them all, doesn't mean that you work them all. And it's okay to refer them out, because part of it is better than 100% of none of it. Okay.
You have that discussion with her, with the woman, with the realtor you referred. You have that discussion that you'll get something out of it, or is it just do you make a contract between you two then, or it's all in writing?
Yes, there is a broker-to-broker referral form. I like to partner with people in Keller because we all have that same.
I was going to ask you, is that why you moved to Keller? One of the reasons?
One of the reasons. The main reason I moved to Keller is because of the systems and processes, because I'd fumbled around for 10 years, so I knew how to do it wrong. And I came here to learn how to do it better.
I have a question.
Yes, Celeste.
I was thinking, my dad lives in Tucson and he has a huge network. He's like the #1 car sales person in the state, like #3 in the US.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking to find a Keller agent in Tucson and reach out to them to start that relationship so that everyone my dad knows in his network, he can put them to that agent and I can get the 25%. My question is, how do I don't know if I should pick an agent that does a lot of volume because they know more people, or find a newer agent that's going to have, more time, or how do I even, do I just look in the Keller system for Tucson reps, or what's your suggestion for picking a partner?
The way I've been instructed is I've gone to my team lead and I have asked them what their recommendation was, and they've recommended that I pick from the top 5% or top 2% of a company wherever I'm looking. And you interview them, and you see who fits your personality better and who's going to work on, because you're the money source. So and don't send them just to that person. They all need to come through you. So tell dad that they all come through you, and you'll make sure that that connection is made, so that there's no.
Okay, that makes sense. So they need to come through me. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Thank you.
And y'all, on another time, you need to learn how to do referrals through command. It is awesome. You can do it all yourself. You don't need anybody. Oh my gosh. You could find any Keller Williams office, who are the top producers, their contact info. Oh man, it's really whiz bang. Another class.
We got about 3 different classes coming out of this conversation. All right. So again, to kind of round out the qualification, what have you guys? Somebody role play with me. Who wants to role play with me on qualifying?
I'll role play with you.
Okay, Christina, perfect. So, do you have the buyer?
Am I the player or the playee?
Well, I want to hear what you had to say. Oh, because I'm doing all the talking. So you tell me what you have to say in terms of your pre-qualifying questions. So again, your goal now, you found me or I found you, and now your goal is to get me to a buyer consultation. But you want to see how motivated I am. So what are you asking me?
Okay. So, hey, Tashma, I'm so excited that you reached out or that we connected and that you're interested in purchasing a home. But what's motivating you to buy right now?
Well, Christina, I am currently in a one-bedroom condo, and I bought this when my daughter went off to school, and now with Corona, she's back,
Oh,
and I
that sounds
need
exciting.
more space.
Awesome. So, is she there long term, or what?
Well,
What is that situation?
I don't even care. All I know is right now we're looking at each other's face, 25/8. I need more space.
Awesome. So, do you have a timeline in mind as to when you would like to be in more space?
Yesterday.
Perfect. Well, we can definitely make yesterday happen for you. I'm afraid to ask her, what are you doing tomorrow?
Right.
Let's see, what else? Another qualifying question. So do you have an area of town that you like to stay in?
Yeah, I like the Midtown area. I'd like to stay in Midtown.
Okay. And what other needs or wants do you have in a potential, like what are your needs right now aside from more space? Do you have any other needs? Does your daughter have any needs that you're trying to consider?
Well, yeah, so the spaces I need a space for her to do her online classes, me to have an office, and then of course we need our own bedrooms.
Okay, so it sounds like you're considering about a 4-bedroom home or maybe 3 bedrooms with an office space. Is that something that you thought about?
I would be willing to do that.
Awesome. So have you also thought about your budget?
I'm not I have, but I'm not sure because I didn't initially call you because I didn't know I could sell. I just bought this place last year, so I didn't even think I could really move, but I want to move.
Okay. Well, you always have options in real estate. Just because you bought last year, it doesn't mean that you have to stay there until kingdom come. But I'd like to set up a time with you. Well, I guess this is the time that we have set to. I'm sorry, this is like so off. I'm in my head. But
you're doing good.
Let's see. What did you just say?
Closer.
I'm sorry.
Close me, girl. Close me.
Okay.
Closer. She's ready.
Perfect.
Go.
Have you talked to a lender yet, Tashma?
No, I haven't. Do you have a recommendation?
I sure do. What I'll do is, as soon as we wrap up this call, I will send you over the 3 top lenders that I enjoy working with. You don't have to use them, but they're a great starting point if you don't have a lender that you work with. And I will let them, excuse me, I will give you their information. If you like one or you see their website and you like them, I would love to connect you with them and follow up with next steps as to how we can get you and your daughter into a new space. Would you like that?
Sounds good. Okay.
Perfect, Tashma. Well, let me give them a call and see who can call you today, and we'll be in touch shortly.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And you stay out of jail. This isn't going to work if you and your daughter get locked up.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yay.
So
I have a question though. So when does the appointment, like I have multiple conversations like this, but when does the appointment thing come in? When do I slide it in? We should meet.
Anastasia, you took my thunder because I was about to give Christina an empathy sandwich. She did a really great job, and she did set a next step for me, which was talk to the lender. And I was hoping that she set an appointment for me to meet with her. Because again, this is a personal, professional opinion. This is not the only way. You will read things that say don't meet until you qualify them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know if I can make money, then I may be a waste of your time. Like if you don't know if I have a way to buy it, then I may be a waste of your time. I'm totally okay with that philosophy. The way I run my business is it's never a waste of time, because to me, it's never a no, it's a not now. And this is a 15-year career for me. So the people that couldn't buy 8 years ago, they have bought. You see what I'm saying? So for me, doing a buyer consultation is not a waste of time. So I was hoping you close. So with that thought in mind, my single job, yes, is to get them in front of the financing, but it's also to get in front of them because I'm selling me. I want you to commit to me. And then whenever it's time to buy the house, then I'm going to be the one. Does that make sense? You may not agree with that philosophy because trust me, I've been where most of you are, that if this is all you're doing right now, you need to check yesterday. So you're like, I don't have time to be cultivating everybody. I get that. And you also need practice because if you don't practice, you're still not going to know what to say and you're not going to know how to capture the person and you're not going to know how to close them. Would you agree? Okay.
I guess my hesitation is getting them too excited before they have any money. So it's like if I sit down and you tell me like, oh, you want a mansion, you know, a mansion in Buckhead, and then you talk to a lender and we're going to struggle to get you on Bankhead, then do I need to go back and then reassess what but I see your side where it's like if you're committed to me and you've already agreed to work with me, whether you change or not, you're still with me. So
yeah, if that means another consultation, then that means another consultation. Again, you haven't cranked your car, you haven't wasted any gas. Like I said, right now I'm doing all my consultations online. I'm doing 3 tomorrow. So we're not even meeting face to face. So it takes me, I could be in here in my pajamas on the bottom half doing my consultation, and I haven't wasted any time.
And then how long does a buyer brokerage agreement last? Isn't it like a year or?
Anything that has a fill in the blank is negotiable. So it is what you mutually agree upon.
What's normal? What do you do?
Depending on the personality of the person, I have done and the ease or not so ease of working with them. So typically on a buyer's agreement, I am 90 to 120 days with a 90-day survival clause or a protection period. That is not written in stone. It's a fill in the blank. So it's whatever you feel comfortable with. I've written some for 1 day. I've written one for 1 house. Because again, I was getting them to buy me. Because if they trust working with me.
What do you mean for 1 house?
Like 1 house. Like if we were at an open house and I met someone at an open house, and that's the only time I show property before I have a buyer's agreement. If I meet someone at an open house, and that's another class, but you're supposed to be ready at the open house to show them like other properties if this one doesn't work. So you need to have your education in hand. So what I'd say is
from previewing and whatnot.
Who is that? Who asked me the question? Rachel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd say, hey, Rachel, I see that 123 Main Street didn't work for you. I'm not sure if you knew that 456 Main Street has the backyard that you want and has, the room on the main. Because I previewed.
Because you previewed, right?
Yes. So if you're agreeable.
And you physically go when you preview, or you just do it on the ML? I mean, you just, or both?
Either. Yep. But I'll tell you, if you're agreeable to meeting me after the open house, I'll be more than happy to show you that property. Because I'm already out there. I'm not wasting time. And then I'm selling them on the buyer consultation at that house.
It just occurred to me before an open house, I should look at very similar ones because I could suggest that to.
You want to look at similar ones?
I was thinking only in physical. I was for some reason thinking I had to go in because I was like, then I have to make an appointment. If they're living there, they need to leave. But you just
I mean, yeah, now it's kind of tough because
it's weird,
COVID stuff. But if you preview enough homes or in areas, then you can tell by the pictures, the way they're taken, if it's got yard sloping down, no yard, trees. So again, you're listening, hearing what there's important to them. The point is, I'll give them 1 house without a BBA. We're selling on the consultation at that 1 house. They won't see any more houses with me until they have a BBA.
Question, you said you're doing consultation while you're seeing a house? Is that
no,
what
I
you're
sell
saying?
them on the consultation, on meeting with me at that house. So if we met at an open house, I would take them to see another house if they wanted to see one more. And then during that rapport building in that house is where I would sell them on doing a meeting with me for a consultation.
What about on the phone? It's like I can never look it up, like, okay, because right now we're doing Zoom calls. It's like, so tell me about your buyer's consultation right there and then on the phone. It's like I'm setting up another phone call, except video phone call, for a buyer's consultation. And it doesn't seem to work for me. And it's like, I keep taking them out just to see. And basically I never get to have an appointment. I kind of figure out their needs as I go by talking to them. And I know it's wrong. And that's, when a conversation with Christina, like, how would you phrase it in a nice way? How would you have done it? Like, hey, now it's time for us to meet. This is why we got to meet. How would you do that? The conversation that we just had.
So, Christine, well, give me your situation, because how many times have you taken them out and you
I
haven't
have
had
not taken them out yet. I have not taken them out yet. And I have these people who are thinking about renting. Then I convinced them to actually start looking at the houses. They said yes. And now they're backing out because they're intimidated by this whole process. And now they're backing out this whole, even a meeting with me. And I feel like once I have them face to face, I'm going to grab them and convince them, and not convince them, and inspire them to start looking again, or whatever. So it's, I suggest, and they're like, okay, we'll let you know. Okay, yeah. But I know it means no.
Okay, so Anastasia, I've heard why it's important for you to stop renting, and right now you're paying how much in rent?
$1,400.
$1,400. Okay, wonderful. And remind me again your motivation for wanting to even consider home ownership this year.
Okay.
Well, I'm asking.
I would like to, get my own house and stop paying money to my landlord, and just actually for myself. Yeah, and we want a bigger house.
Okay, so you want to stop throwing your money away in rent, and you want more space. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what would that mean for you? How would you feel about opening your door and having more space? You can answer me.
I see, but you know what? It's actually, it's the process. It's a long time process, and I don't think my credit is right yet. So we're gonna list for another year.
Okay. So you have a concern about your credit. Is that the biggest thing? If your credit were in a position to purchase, would you be more comfortable moving forward?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Any other reasons? Anything else that's giving you
And it's
anxiety?
I'm just worried about, that we would not have time. November is when our lease is over, and I think it's not enough time for us to actually find something and get it and finance it.
Fantastic. That is why we need to have a consultation, Anastasia. I can show you in our meeting together how we can have you in the home you want in the next 30 days. How would that make you feel if you could be in before the next holiday?
Great. Of course. Yeah.
So what we need to do is set an appointment, video chat, 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes for what I have. It may go a little longer depending on your questions. And I'm confident and comfortable I can show you how we can get you home sooner than 4 months if that's really what you want.
Yeah, I do.
So
okay,
let's look at tonight at 6 o'clock. We can video chat. You don't have to leave your sofa.
That's great. Okay.
What do you think?
I think it's great, except the fact that it's like, I don't know how. It's about the financial part, and that's where I'm not really have enough knowledge about the financial part to explain them, to make them at ease.
So again, your job is not to do the financial though. If you're going to take the philosophy of, I want to make sure they're qualified first, then hey, Anastasia, then the next step, in order for you not to feel so anxious, the next step is, let's just partner you with one of my preferred vendors and let them talk you through this financial piece. I know it's scary for a lot of people, but truthfully, just a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then you call that lender and say, look, I need you just to have a conversation.
I emailed her.
You got to set the tone for that client. Okay.
Exactly what I did. Yeah.
I told someone yesterday, I said, if you hopped in your car and you didn't know where you were going, the first thing you put in your GPS is where you are. It doesn't hurt you to know where you are. Even if, buying a house is not on your radar for the next 2, 3, 5 years, know where you are now in relation to getting that house, whether it's, having money for down payment, fixing your credit, determining what a budget would be, or just know where you are, get an assessment of where you are, and talk to a lender that can help you develop a roadmap as to how you want to get to where you say you want to be.
Yeah.
And they go for that.
Partner with the lender and make sure they
Yeah,
have
exactly.
that.
I told him, like, let's step on the scale. Let's check our weight. Let's see what our nutrition plan is like, But I feel like he's intimidated and he's right away backing out. Just on Saturday, he was all in. By Wednesday, he backs out. But I think I'm gonna work him out.
Keep going on the rent to owning. If the rent certainly will go up in another year, that's for certain. Nobody's going down in rent right now. Whereas, and these interest rates, they literally can make a lateral movement in payment.
Okay.
You said it was important to you to stop throwing your money away. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So let's pull up the buyer consultation. Stacy, please. Hello. No. Oh. Here. So you guys all should have this. Okay, so again, 90% of my consults right now are online, or we do them, Zoom calls. So what I do is I send my consultation packet the day of. Once I get a confirmation that they're still on for that date to meet me online, I send it to them the day of, and usually only a couple hours before. Okay. In this packet, Stacy, if you don't mind just scrolling through, I'm going to explain each page and then we'll go back. So when we get into our consultation, I let them know, hey, let's see, who do I have on here? Hey, Amanda. Really excited that you chose to join me today and in our consultation. We have a 3-point objective to our meeting today. Okay, our first objective is to go over the home buying process from nuts to bolts. We're going to use it basically like a playbook, like a blueprint, so that you know exactly what steps to take. This is a recipe, so we start with the first ingredient, and when we end, we'll have the cake, which is your home. Okay, so that's the first objective. Our second objective is to be clear on your needs and your wants and wishes. I like to call them your deal breakers and your wants and wishes. And we typically, Amanda, we take your needs, wants, and wishes, and we match it with your budget. And we go up to the big screen and see what the market has available. Okay. And then the third part of our consultation today is, trustfully, by the end of our time together, you will feel comfortable that I am the right partner to help you in this process. How does that sound? I think you said that sounds good. I can't hear you.
Sounds fantastic.
Okay. All right. So what do you guys think about that?
Is this in a manual? Because I couldn't find it in the manual.
Yeah, I hit the first step.
No, they
Wait.
sent it in an email.
Yeah, I sent Stacy sent that to you in an email. It's not going to be in your manual because this is my packet.
Oh, that's your personal.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing them.
I had a quick question, if you can hear me. I think I'm having.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm straining, but I can hear you.
So, I actually have a buyer, and I was going to send off the BBA to him, but I wanted to get him pre-approved first. Is that a step that, because I see it on here, you have the BBA, and then you have the pre-approval. Would you recommend doing, why do you have it, the BBA first and then the pre-approval?
Because a lot of times I have people come to me first, like they don't even know they need to go to a lender, or they don't know who to call. So I'm usually the first person that they call.
That's what I was the first contact for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get him pre-approved first before I get in my car and do anything else, just to make sure everything is in order.
Absolutely. And that's okay. But your consultation should be coming before you get in the car anyway. Yes. So that's the thing. You should be going through something like this before you take someone out. So you will have gotten the pre-approval and you will have gone through your blueprint before y'all get in the car. And that's a great segue for me to explain. Well, actually, no, because I said I was going to scroll through this. So we're going to come back to that. So put a pin in your statement there, Amanda. Okay. Stacy, would you mind scrolling up another page? Okay. Me personally, I go over a highlight of what it's going to take to get them to their keys. It's all about setting expectation. So again, by the time we finish in our consult, I know if they have down payment. I know if they have the money it takes to buy the home that they want. If they don't, then we go into solution mode. Or we categorize them in a, maybe it's not 30 days, maybe it's going to be 90 days. But I'm not getting in the car because now I know that they don't have the money that they need, or maybe they do. Does that make sense? So I walk through this costs related to closing, and I break this sheet down, and I preempt it by saying I am not the money person. I'm the dirt person. But I've been through enough closings and seen enough closing statements to know where all of the money goes. So I like to go over this because what tends to happen that I've found is that we all talk in our industry speak. So we talk in real estate terms, lenders talk in lender speak, and the consumer doesn't know half of those terms. So sometimes our lenders don't explain things or break them down as much as our clients need. So I like to break all of these terms down so that people are crystal clear where their money comes from or where their money's going. Okay. And then if you would scroll up again, Stacy, please. And then I have this little graph here. So I don't know if you can tell, I'm very big on visuals. I used to be a trainer and I'm a visual learner. So it's important to me to break stuff down. So you is the client. Okay. And then this circle around are all of your team members. So I like to consider myself a project manager. So I'm your project manager for all things real estate. And that's, me at the top. All of these people around the circle are my vendor partners that are going to help me get you to your keys. Okay. And then I go through and explain that you have a team. So when you hire me, you have a team. And these are the people on your team. All right. And then one more page, Stacy, please. And then this is my not so subliminal message of how I run my business. I'm a referral-based business. So even if I don't talk about it per se, it's in the presentation that they get. And this is why I work by referrals. And this is my personal business model. I work by referrals. So, okay. Questions? Y'all give me questions. No?
Ms. Toshma, did you say that you included this in an email to us? Because I've only been seeing the other stuff, like the buyer's agreement and stuff. I haven't seen this come through in my email.
I believe it was attached to our email. I got it.
Stacy sent it out yesterday.
I sent it out to everybody yesterday. Was it yesterday? It might have been 2 days ago, actually.
I got it at 6:06 yesterday, if that helps anybody. 6:06 p.m. is when I received it, and it looks like we're all BCC'd.
Mm-hmm.
And just to confirm, I have the buyer consult package and the BBA. That might be the attachment, right? Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So, Stacey, if you don't mind, scroll back to the top page.
The process.
I'm sorry. The blueprint. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not necessarily gonna role play this. I'm gonna step through each step, and you guys ask me questions. I have to be cognizant of our time because I think we're close.
Yep.
Okay. So 30 minutes. Okay. So I'm not going to role play it. I'm going to step through it. They'll let me know if you have questions. So we start from the left to the right. And now you can make this any way you want to make it aesthetically. These are the steps from meeting us to getting your keys. Okay. Like life, a lot of these things tend to go before the others, which kind of addresses somebody's question about should I get the BBA or should I get approved first and all that. The reality is, if you count up all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, at least 18 steps to getting to your keys. So when you have people that you talk to that say they didn't have a good real estate experience, or that their agent didn't do anything, and that they found their own house. That's usually the one I get. I don't even know why I need an agent. I can find my own house. Well, if you notice, view properties is number 6 out of 18 items. So yes, I let people know in the consultation, Brian, you may very well find your own house. Because the reality is, once you've made a choice or a decision to start looking for homes, that becomes your number one focus. So you may be up at 2 o'clock in the morning looking for new homes. I'm not going to be up at 2 a.m. looking for new homes. So it's very, very possible that you may find the home that you want. But as you can see from this blueprint, finding your home and getting the keys to that home are 2 different things. Would you agree? And that's why you want to work with someone to help you navigate this process. So I'm taking that objection off the table because it's true. Okay. So the purpose of the consultation is to set expectations, give them a blueprint, and then make sure they're further qualified and that you can find what they want. That's the purpose of is to show your value. Okay. So, ideally, we start at the beginning by hiring a real estate professional, and we do that in writing. So then I would flip over to the buyer's agreement, and I gave you a blank one. You guys, please, of course, read through it and study it yourself. What I say in the buyer's agreement is, in the state of Georgia, that very first line under the title, it says, in the state of Georgia, you are not able to enter into a buyer-client process without having it in writing. So for everybody that had concerns about, are you doing something unethical? If it's not in writing, it doesn't stand up. It says it right there underneath the buyer's agreement. So can you represent someone? Yeah. You can represent them as, a customer. You can help them. But if it ever had to be held up in court, if you don't have it in writing that they're under BBA, then you don't have anything. Which is also why we can't get paid until we have a BBA in our file per Lynn, because if somebody ever comes back, if we don't have it in writing, we don't have anything.
Can I have a quick question?
Yes, sir.
And you probably want to answer this soon. So before you even go over these sub bullets to the home buying process, you had them sign a buyer broker before you even start going over your presentation?
No, I don't have them sign it there. I just go over it.
Just introduce it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I actually don't even, honestly, I don't even go over it. I pull it up. I highlight that first line underneath that says you must enter into a written agreement in order to be represented as a client. I go over that. And what I say is, okay, so Brian, the purpose of us going into this written agreement is so that you can let the industry know that you are represented, and I can give you the best care and concern and resources that I am able to give you. And Brian, because I work by referral, I really only choose to work with people that I can give 100% service to, and that would be clients. Okay. So I understand if, at the end of our time together, if you're not comfortable entering into an agreement with me, I totally get it. Okay. But for me to give you the very best service that I can give you, I choose to only work with clients. Again, they don't work with me, I haven't lost anything. I haven't left my house. Okay. I only want to work with people that are going to be loyal to me, and vice versa. Okay. Obtaining your financial approval. Now, the reality is most of us start at number 6, which is viewing the houses. That's because that's the sexy part. But if you'll notice, there's 5 more steps above that you really do want to accomplish before you get to looking at homes. So ideally, you will come in and meet with me, hiring a real estate professional, or you may come in and obtaining a financial approval. Either one of those entry points is great. So if you, so then we talk about the obtaining a financial approval. So again, it doesn't matter. They can sign, meet with me consultation first, or they can get qualified first. I prefer them to get qualified first, but it's not a prerequisite for me. Okay. In that financial approval, we talk about the difference between a pre-qual and a pre-approval. The short answer is we all can do pre-quals. So that shows you how worthless it is. I'm not a lender, so. But I can pre-qual, so can you. You tell me how much you make, you tell me what kind of debts you have, You give me an idea where your credit is, and I can give you a pre-qual. Means nothing when you're trying to buy a house. The pre-approval.
Tasha, just a quick question for
Yes.
you.
Mhm.
How many deals do you think you would not have closed? Like how many
Mhm.
deals do you think you would have lost if you would have waited for clients to get pre-qualified before signing a buyer brokerage agreement?
Oh my gosh.
Like, is it a substantial number?
I don't know how to answer that because we don't go out unless they're approved. So I don't think I've lost anything. Because if I show them and I don't know they're approved, I've wasted my time. I'm just being honest. The thing is the follow-up period though, is so if you're waiting on them to get pre-approved, if you don't have a strong follow-up game, then you could lose them once they are approved. Does that make sense? Which for me, because I know that's one of my shortcomings, transparently, that's why I do my buyer's agreement, because I'm going to win them in this buyer's consultation. They're going to trust me and they're going to want to do business with me.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So pre-qual, pre-approval, critical that we get you with a reputable lender. We talk about the difference between pre-approval and pre-qual, and we talk about the difference in the types of institutions. You have brokers, mortgage brokers. You have banks. You have credit unions. Okay. The buyer is willing and able to use whomever they prefer. What I like to say is, hey, Lisa, I know that you have qualified with Navy Federal Credit Union. As part of my education to you, I just want you to be clear that, real estate is a 24-hour business. And banks and credit unions are not in the mortgage business. They're in the deposits and investments business. The reason that is important, Lisa, is because as you see, we're meeting right now 8 o'clock at night for our buyer consultation. Real estate's 24/7. Will I be able to get your loan officer on the phone at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night? 8 times out of 10, they say no. Whereas when I work with a mortgage broker, the mortgage company does not eat unless they provide a qualified solution for you. So they're vested in your success, as I am. So while you definitely can get competitive rates and everything from the credit union, I do recommend that you get a second opinion from a mortgage lending institution, that's all they do. Okay. And then that way I'm able to throw in someone that I am preferred working with, because it is a 24/7 business. You are going to be showing property on Sundays. Huh? Who asked me a question?
I said good information. I had no idea. I didn't know that. So that was good.
I just had a listing terminate with, I'm not going to say what credit union, but it was a credit union, and I knew it was coming. And we got the house was supposed to close on Friday. I got the termination on Thursday. Couldn't get him on the weekends, couldn't talk to him on a Sunday. The loan officer went on 2 vacations during the 30-day period. And I told the buyer's agent this was going to happen. But, it was up to my seller to take the deal. But because they're not in the mortgage business. So guess what happened? Do you think that person lost their earnest money because my seller kept the money? They didn't get the house. But do you think that client is going to stop doing business with the credit union? No. They're going to be mad, but they're not getting ready to pull all their funds from them. And that's what the banks count on. So they have no vested interest in making sure that your deal really gets done the way it should. But a mortgage company is not going to eat if they don't come through. Does that make sense? Okay.
I wanted to just speak on that real quick. I had a coworker who kind of went through the same thing, and I had to learn about that. They dealt with I can't say the bank. But then I kind of told it, but I was told not to, just to, forewarn people that banks are not invested in, mortgages because they have ways of making money elsewhere. So they kind of like drag their feet. I mean, he went to closing. It was his first closing, and there were papers that weren't there, and he was sending us photos like, I'm still sitting here. Closing was at 11. It's now 4 o'clock, and the paperwork wasn't there from the bank. They dragged their feet, and I couldn't even believe that was happening. So now I talk to brokers and lenders that, we use with our with our group, and it's been a lot smoother. They're right on it because, like you said, what's in it for them? They're making their money, so they're going to help your clients.
And that's why we all have preferred lenders in our, in our offices. So if you don't have someone, definitely reach out to the people that are in your office, and they're vested in your success. They literally are vested in your success. So
I have a question about,
yes.
What makes, I mean, I've seen like stats of how much they've lended or whatever. In choosing a lender, what qualities are we looking for exactly? Like, why wouldn't you just go with the one in the office? Like we have two in our office, so that's why some people don't use them, and I'm just curious of why you wouldn't.
There's no answer. It really ends up being just your relationship that you forge with different people and how you've seen them close for you. There's no necessarily any rhyme or reason. There's definitely a reason between mortgage companies and banks, but in terms of the individual, that's just going to be your
who you want to give your business to and have a relationship with.
But we definitely have partners in our respective offices that are vested in our success, so you can get them on the phone.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure why I wouldn't go with them. Even speaking with other people in my office that don't go with them, and I thought, why wouldn't? I mean, they're literally, you can go talk to them face to face if needed.
But just like Stacy mentioned before, though, we do have to give more than one option. Or ethically, we're supposed to give more than one option. So
you recommend 3?
I'm gonna go with what Stacy said.
Yeah, well, that's what Lynn LaCroix, our qualifying broker, recommends.
Okay. So we are financial approval, analyze your needs. So today we're in our buyer consultation. So we will take your pre-approval and we will match them with your wants, wishes, and needs, which we'll go over in just a little bit. And we will take them up to the MLS and let's see what the market is providing. I always say, throw it on the third person, that the market is showing us what's available based on your needs and requirements and your budget. Okay. Then we select properties.
Before you get there, I'm sorry to interject.
Yes.
When you're saying let the market, determine, where you're giving that component, are you actually demonstrating this, or just like because if you're virtual, are you like screen sharing?
I am
at this point. Okay.
Yes.
So you're actually putting in 5-bedroom, 4-bath, need a fireplace, need X amount of, this, that, and the third. You're actually putting that in and then forecasting it so they can see exactly what they're asking for. Okay.
All about building expectation, Byron, because if I have a buyer that's saying, oh, they want a 4-bedroom on a basement for $200,000 in Cobb, I love it when people say stuff like that, because I go right to the MLS and I start as broad as possible, and I say, hey, we're just gonna look at what's in Cobb, boom, and I show them the number. The visual is, you can't even say anymore. Do the visual. You look at the bottom number in the bottom left-hand corner. Put in Cobb, boom. Put in 5 bedrooms, boom. Watch that number, funnel down, and 200, boom, and it's 2 houses. I said, and now we don't even know what they look like, but there's only 2 houses. So imagine there's 6 million people in Metro Atlanta. If they're all trying to buy something under 200, you got 2 houses.
That's going to promote a lot of sense of urgency there, and it's going to allow them to readjust what their needs and wants are based on what they actually have to pay for, because what you want and what you said you need, you're gonna start scaling that back when they don't fit in that budget.
But that's why I say let the market show them. So you're not telling them, put it in the MLS. This is the source that we all use. So put it in MLS and let the funnel show them what you're trying to tell them, that it doesn't exist or that there's only a limited amount, because then you're leveling expectations. So you're not going to be driving around looking at houses they can't afford or that they don't want.
You would have done some of this homework before too, right? I mean,
yes, Rachel, because I'm previewing.
Right. But you're saying if they don't believe you, kind of.
They still don't believe you, because they're online and they're looking and they see a house that, Zillow doesn't always update. Zillow's everybody's best friend. They doesn't always update, or it could have been a house sold 2 years ago or whatever the case may be. I show them in real time that this is what I'm using and every agent uses first. And so at that point, we're repositioning our expectations or our wants and requirements. But because I am especially if you're concentrating in a particular area, a county, or whatever your focus is, then you're going to know that. That's your study, your product knowledge. So yes, you are going to know that. Okay. So we select properties, then we set up to view properties. With COVID, we have different expectations. We may be able to view the property. I may have to go in and video it and you watch it on FaceTime. We may only get one shot at looking at it at a one-day open house. We may not be able to look at it until we put it under contract. That's a new one. People aren't used to that. Yes. Yes, you may, if you want it, then that's also the reason why the presentation online is so important on the listing side, because people are making appointments, making decisions, at least those initial decisions based on what you see online. So you want to talk through with them the different ways that we're viewing property in this kind of season. It can be face-to-face. It could be just a one-day open house. It could be me going in and just doing a FaceTime for you. It could be that if you really want the house, you might have to put an offer in sight unseen, in real time unseen. But that's why you have me, Rachel, because I'm going to make sure that we build into your offer a way for you to get out of this if it's not the home that you want. So every place during this home buying process, you always want to reiterate why they need you. Okay, because at the end, you're showing value and you want them to buy you. Okay. So then we're going to write the offer. So our writing offer, again, setting expectation. If you're researching and looking at your stats, the stats of the metro area, you want to stay up on those. If you don't understand them, please get with someone in your office, in your administration, to help you understand the statistics. It's really important, guys. We are still in a seller's market. Don't let the national news fool you. Micro news in Atlanta, 42 counties, practically anything under 500,000 is still a seller's market. Okay. So you have to know your information though. Okay. And the reason that's important, because we have to set the expectation for the buyer that writing an offer, we may not be able to negotiate on price. This is what I say to my buyers. So I set them up in the consultation. We may not be able to negotiate on price, Helen. If you want the house and if it's in decent repair, then my job is to get you the house that you want. So you may have to go in full price. You may have to go in a little above asking price. Okay. And then that, of course, opens up conversation. Well, why do I have to go over asking price? But set it up. If you know your market, if you're working Cobb County or East Cobb or Alpharetta or Cumming or Brookhaven, those are still sellers market. There's still more people that want to buy than there are houses to buy. And it keeps you from having that headache at the time that you're making the offer. If you set them up now to say, hey, we may not have the luxury of going in at full, negotiating on a price. There's other things we can negotiate for. We still need closing costs, or do we? You still may need a new paint job. You still may need carpet. Oh, you may want to get a fence put in. All those other things that are important as well, they cost money. So even if we can't get it off the price, maybe we can get it somewhere else. Okay. Questions? I only see 6 faces.
Get it somewhere else. What do you mean by that?
Okay. Because this is our first line of negotiation. When we make the offer, this is our first level of negotiation. At this point, we're trying to put our best foot forward so we can be the pretty girl picked at the dance. Okay. Once we get the house and the person says, yes, I want to dance with you, then we have time to really decide if this is really the one we want to dance with. But right now, we just want them to pick us. Okay. So if we have to present a clean offer, meaning we're giving asking price, we may only be asking for a little bit of closing costs. We're closing whenever the seller feels comfortable closing. We're throwing them whatever we can throw them within reason for your client, for them to pick us. And then we're always, as a buyer specialist, I'm always negotiating a due diligence or an inspection time. And that's my time that my client can really decide if this is the house that they want. Sellers agents hate to hear me say that. Like, they cringe when I say that. But hey, I'm here on the buyer side right now. I'm trying to help my buyers win. If we find a reason that this house is not the one, then we have built in some time to terminate if we need to terminate. You haven't lost any earnest money, haven't lost any other things. Does that make sense?
It's about 2 weeks, right? Usually.
Again, if it's fill in the blank, Rachel, it is negotiable.
Is that average?
We're gonna be lucky to get 10 days, but you can try it. If it's a fill in the blank, it's negotiable.
So,
yes.
In a case like that, yeah, I'm guessing you don't have to have any, like, I guess, probable cause to terminate the contract. I mean, say if you find an issue with the property when you're doing your due diligence, I guess you would ask for the seller or to fix that incident before you withdraw your,
right.
I guess. So I guess in that case, you allow, I guess, wiggle room to back out if they deny or don't grant, fix whatever the issues are, but you can't just pull out because you decided that wasn't a house for you without probable cause, right?
That is not true. That's why sellers don't like due diligence periods, because in fact you can pull out for any reason.
And that's stated in the contract. That's
it's
negotiable as well.
It's for if you have a due diligence and inspection period. Due diligence could be anything. It could be, I went to look at it today at 11 o'clock in the morning and it was gorgeous, and I went back at 7 o'clock and they were selling drugs on the corner. I don't want to live there, so I'm going to terminate this agreement as long as I'm within my due diligence, or I picked it because I thought it was in Pope High School and I found out it was in Wheeler High School. I don't want to live there. It could be any reason. But the time is there for inspections, but the due diligence part is just that, due diligence. So any research I need to do to make sure that this is the right house for me.
I have a question about multiple offers.
Yes.
In those situations where you have your buyer definitely wants the house and you're presenting an offer and the listing agent may have 10 other offers, are there certain contingencies that you always write into the purchase and sell agreement?
There are, and who's talking to me? I can't see you. I'm sorry.
My name is Dion Delone.
Okay, Dion, if you would do me a huge favor and shoot me your question directly, because I see we have 10 minutes and I'm not quite through. So let me get through this page and then just shoot it to me and I'll answer your question. Okay, so negotiating terms, accepting the contract. If you notice on there, I put in your first investment. Because again, you get a lot of buyers that say, "Oh, I can buy a house with no money down," or "Oh, my friend bought a house and they didn't have they didn't put any money." They're lying. They're lying. So this is your first investment. You're gonna write your earnest money check. Typically, again, it's a fill in the blank on the contract, so it can be anything. The industry kind of expects at least 1% of the sales price. So you want to set your clients up for success. Be ready to write at least a 1% check for whatever the sales price is. So they're looking for $100,000. They need to be ready to write a $4,000 check immediately. This also helps people understand why they don't. If you're going out tomorrow, Christina, are you prepared to write a $4,000 check tomorrow? If you want us to go look at homes tomorrow, if they can't say yes, then we're not going to look at houses. I'm not in the business to show houses. I'm in the business to get you the house that can be yours. Right? That's what we're doing, right? Okay. So move up to the middle section where it's gray, conduct inspection. That will be your second check. And I give them price ranges. We talk about that. So this is where your second level of negotiation comes in. So this is where you can get the money that you might not have got the first time. So if you didn't get it in the first round of offer, there's gonna be something wrong with that house. 100%. It's gonna be something wrong with it. The question is how many things and how much can we build into that that inspection list where we can either get the seller to fix it or we can get some money toward our closing costs or however you want to structure it. Okay. This is also the time during that due diligence to get your survey if your client has questions about their property lines and all that. Okay. At the same time, you're going through your mortgage application, which is that very middle box. That's where the third investment check comes in. They will be writing that check that is non-refundable and is non-negotiable if they're getting financing. Okay, so I like to set the expectation for clients. Look, even if you get 100% loan, you're still going to have 3 investment checks. So you're going to have some money. So that this helps calm people down, or gets them even more anxious, but at least they know, and you're not sideswiping them going, and they're like, oh my gosh, I keep writing all these checks, and they don't know why. This is why you go through this. Okay. And then on the bottom, I conduct the title search. That's where the attorney comes in. So you explain to them that the closing attorney will be making sure the title is clear. Okay. And then Stacy, if you would bring it back down just a little bit, I'm going to go that last column. Okay, then when we get close to closing, they're going to get their closing disclosure. That's where they're going to verify their numbers and their cash to close. And then they're going to get instructions to wire their funds to closing. Okay, so these are things that we talk about again when we get closer to it, but I like to set them up for that. So if they have to do stuff with their bank, they need to be prepared to do that. Okay, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm running through because I know I am running through. But once we have conversation about each one of these things, unless they if they have questions. That's why my consultation takes a while. But they're clear when we hit the street, they know what's going on. And I bring up the purchase agreement, and I go through 5 hot spots on that purchase agreement, and then I give them the blank one and say, hey, I need you to read it in its entirety. I set the expectation, because when we go to look at homes, you're not going to have 2 days to read this contract. I need us to be ready to make an offer when we see the home that you want. Okay, so we go through the 5 hot spots on the contract, and then I give it to them to read in its entirety. Questions? Okay, I'm trying to scroll it myself. Stacy, can you roll up to that last that one? Yes, the
closing costs. Okay.
All right, guys, I got 4 minutes. I'm going to respect your time here, but this, in my opinion, is critical. This is where you gain trust, in my opinion, because you don't be afraid to talk about the money. So if this information is not clear to you as the agent, take it, have a conversation with your lender. Let them break all these things down with you, because this is coming right off the settlement sheet. Okay, so you want to make sure that they're clear on what a mortgage payment actually is. It's broken down into at least those 4 items, sometimes 5. So you go through, hey, do you understand what your mortgage payment is? Principal, interest, taxes, insurance. If they have questions, then you talk about those things. And then I'll go down to the second box over there that says closing costs and prepaids. I hide one side and I say, hey, on the left side, give me any of those terms you don't understand or are not familiar with. Taxes, lender fees, and we go through every definition, because I want people to know where their money is going. Okay? If they have a question about it, you explain it. And then in that bottom box where it's gold, same thing. Go down this list. Brian, are there any terms that you've never seen before or don't know what they are? And we go through each one of them. And then I have them fill this out. I want you to write in the numbers. So I start giving them numbers for each one of these with a projected home price. So you see at the top where it says example home price. So if we're $200,000 house, a lot of people only think about their down payment. So they're like, oh, well, I got $6,000, but they didn't know they needed another $6,000 just to close. So they don't know that they need almost double what they think they have. So that's the point in terms of leveling expectation that we know. I say, okay, was this more than what you expected, about what you expected, or not what you expected? And they give me their answer. If they're like, oh, well, then now I gotta delay. Well, where do you need help? So if it's closing costs, then we go back to the contract. This is why we're not going to negotiate on price, because we need the closing costs. Taking $10,000 off the price is going to save you $60, but taking $10,000 out of your pocket that you don't have means you can't close. So let's leave the price where it is and let's negotiate for closing costs. And they're like, oh, so see, you don't have to wait 6 months to buy a house. We just know that we need to focus on negotiating for closing costs and not worrying about the price. If you can afford it and you like it, then let's worry about the cash to close. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. And so that we start to have more conversation here. This is really what can burn up the time, because then we start making scenarios, because I want them to leave feeling like we're ready to buy a house. If they were saying it's going to take them 6 months to save, then if I can show them why we can do it in 2 months, then I'm winning and so are they. Okay. If they need down payment, then that goes back to why we need to speak with the lender partner. Okay. All right. Ooh, I'm real close. I know I went Speedy Gonzalez.
All right. I want to ask y'all, number one, please raise your hand if you would hire Toshma Graves to be your buyer's agent. Woo! Oh my gosh. Now, she's thought of everything. She's covered everything. Please be like Toshma, please. You just, your buyers would be so happy. So
they're going to be educated for sure. And here's the thing, guys, even if they don't sign with you, then you close it out with, hey, I understand, Sarah, that you're loyal to your cousin that just got her license. All that I ask is that if you gained a value from this education today, then let me help someone else that you know. I've gotten referrals that way. People that, like Sarah, didn't buy from me because she promised her cousin she's selling a house, but her cousin is not giving her the education. She's just doing it because she's a family member. I'm educating you, and they value and respect me more, and they send me the business moving forward. I assure you, it happens.
I have a question.
Yes, Lakeisha.
I know time is up, but really fast. Yes, when I bought my house 5 years ago, I didn't have an agent that explained hardly anything to me. So when it comes to down payment assistance, that goes towards the down payment, correct? It doesn't assist at all with closing costs.
It depends on what the program is.
Oh, okay.
Some of it will, some of it might not. But what I consider my job in that cost of closing is to break it down for the client so they realize it's not one and the same. Down payment is only one section out of 10 other things that you have to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
And I defer that question back to the lender and say, hey, that's why we need to get you with the lender. So if nothing else, they're going to be qualified after we finish, and they're going to agree to work with me, or they're not going to work with me. But I have all those questions answered by the end of our consultation.
Okay. Thank you.
Guys, was this valuable for you?
Very valuable. Thank you so much for today.
When are you coming back?
Valuable.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You have to come back.
Yeah, are you coming back?
This is my only cameo, guys.
No.
Do you have a contact number that we can reach out to you?
Yeah, can we? Can we bug you?
Yes. Stacy, did you forward my email or did you just attach those attachments?
I believe I did.
Let me see.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's in there because it's your.
Yes, her email signature is in there with all the contact.
Okay. I am best reached by text, guys. But if you text me, I will call you or text you back. I will.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad this was helpful. I'm here to help you guys. I'm here to help you win. Seriously, you can win. And this is a great, great time. Ooh, this is a great time to be in real estate right now.
Give us 3 takeaways from this whole meeting. 3 strong takeaways.
Me or y'all? You give me 3 takeaways.
Well,
you take it away.
I take away so much from it. I'm just condensing the information. I mean, I got the points I got may not be the same thing that resonates with other people. I get that. One thing I take away from it is that you're always closing. Your niche is your way to communicate information effectively, so it makes the process not so overwhelming. I can identify with that. So that's one of my takeaways, and that you give people peace during this hectic transaction. So that's why people find comfort at you. That's why you sell the way you do, and that's why you're confident going into it, because you know that's how you connect with people. You know what I mean? So those are my takeaways from it. But I guess for someone else it may be different. So I guess 3 things, if you wanted to say, just leave us with, what would they be?
I know it doesn't sound like it, but I listen a lot and I ask a lot of questions. Always ask questions and actively listen. You're looking for a way in. Preview, believe it or not. You got to know your inventory. I don't care if you're just previewing online. I don't care if you're scrolling through Zillow, but preview so you know your inventory.
It's Toshma Preview Graves.
You got to preview.
Did you take the pictures so we can go?
Yes, I've already taken
And do a buyer consultation 100% of the time. I don't care if it's your sister. I don't care if it's your spouse. Do a buyer consultation 100% of the time. The more time you spend in the consultation, the less time you will waste out in your car and gas and not closing. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You will definitely hear from me. This class has been a spark because for the past couple of days, I've just been so disenchanted with sitting on these calls for 3 hours. And today I was like, okay, here is my sign from on high that I have $80 in 3 weeks.
All right. Well, I'm glad, guys. Listen, I'm even more animated in person, so y'all really miss my magic, but it's okay.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Have a good one. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much, Ms. Toshma.
Can you show us how to access some of those documents?
Pictures were taken already?
Yep.
Oh, sign off. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, I can show.
Miss Stacy, I wasn't ready for the picture, but I was on a call.
Can you send me a message? I see so many people on the screen. Just
I don't
type
see your name on there though. Is it Stacy Stubbs?
Yes. Sorry, I'm the Rawls group picture because I'm logged into our account.
Okay, I'm looking. Okay, I found it. Just one moment.
Okay. So, did you need me to show what do you
I need to make sure I get credit for class today. I've been on the call, but I didn't know that the picture was being taken. So I have my my photograph up.
Okay, I'm sorry. Who was talking?
My name is Dion DeLone. I didn't know you were taking the picture, so I have my photo up.
Yeah,
I
you
wanted
had.
to know that I'm here.
Okay.
I just sent you a chat message.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for your help. Have a good day.
Thank you. Anybody else need anything? Kai, do you need me to do the? Okay. All righty. Here we go. Let me share my screen.
Because I know for mission 6, I wasn't able to find prepare for your checklist for
I can't really hear you.
Can you hear me now?
A little better, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying for mission 6, I wasn't able to find, download, prepare for your open home.
Right. Okay. So, can you see the screen? I'm in my KW. Okay. Click education in the black band. We spin. Okay, click anywhere in the Ignite square. Click. Go into Ignite. Scroll down. Click on Student Resources. It's a slow process. We scroll to the very bottom. You see all these sessions, additional resources. Click on Ignite Toolkit. Click. And I mean, some of the other things are there, but also within the toolkit. Are you opening Mr. Toolkit? Here we go. And you can download it, and there are all sorts of things in there. So good thing to have. But I think that was what, knowing that once you got here, because I know we went over, you go here to do the manual online, the very bottom, additional resources. Got it? Perfect.
And that's what you download the buyer presentation and the buyer needs analysis questionnaire in the toolkit. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, you guys? Okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.